Drinking too much water. Okay, be honest here. How many times have you proudly lugged around one of those giant gallon jugs, determined to stay hydrated, like every fitness reel says? You sip all morning, top it off at lunch, race to finish it by dinner, and maybe even brag that your pee is totally clear. Feels like winning, right? Here's the plot twist nobody tells you at the smoothie bar. There is such a thing as overhydration, and it can flip your body's internal switch from, "Thanks, I needed that," to, "Whoa, we're literally drowning in here." Hydration is great. Hyperhydration is a sneaky bully hiding behind a health halo. Let's peel back the science without sounding like a textbook. Your bloodstream is basically a salty soup. Think broth, not plain water. Sodium is the chef that keeps the recipe balanced, making sure water stays in the right places and your cells stay comfy. When you chug way more water than your kidneys can filter per hour, roughly a liter for most people, give or take, you dilute that salty broth. Sodium levels crash, water rushes into cells, and some of those cells, especially in your brain, start puffing up like marshmallows and hot cocoa. Doctors call it hyponatremia. You'll probably just call it, "Why does my head feel like a heavy balloon?" Signs can start subtle. A weird headache you blame on screen time. Sudden nausea even though you just ate. Muscles that feel gummy, not sore. Or that spaced out, "I can't focus on this email" fog. Push it further and things get scarier. Disorientation, seizures, even loss of consciousness. No, that doesn't happen to every water lover every day, but it does happen to marathoners, military recruits, and yes, regular workers who turn hydration into a competitive sport. But the 8 glasses rule, you protest. Fun fact, that rule was born from a 1945 government guideline that also said most of that water comes from food and other drinks, a line everyone conveniently forgot. Your real need changes hour by hour. Hot day, sweaty workout, salty lunch, hormone shifts, caffeine intake, you name it. Your best built-in gauge is still the one nature gave you. Thirst, plus urine that's light lemonade colored, not crystal clear. Think about it like topping off the gas tank in your car. You'd never keep pumping after the nozzle clicks. You'd spill fuel everywhere and smell like gasoline all day. Overfilling your bloodstream doesn't cause a puddle on the pavement. It swells cells in places where swelling is a really bad idea, like inside your skull where there's zero wiggle room. So do you have to ditch your beloved water bottle? Absolutely not. Just treat hydration like seasoning a soup. Enough to taste right, not so much you ruin dinner. Sip steadily. Listen to your body, and remember that food, especially fruits and veggies, counts toward your fluid tally. If you're sweating buckets, replace electrolytes, not just water. Coconut water, a pinch of salt and sugar and homemade lemonade, or an actual sports drink if you're going full-on endurance athlete. Here's the kicker. Sometimes the healthiest habit is knowing when to stop. You already trust hunger cues to avoid overeating. Trust thirst cues the same way. The next time someone challenges you to a gallon-a-day contest, maybe challenge them to a balance contest. First one to stay energized, headache-free, and happily pink-peeing wins. Bet you'll walk away with the prize and your sodium levels intact. Turns out even something as pure and life-giving as water has a dark side when you take the more is better mantra too literally. Who knew the classic H2O could be both hero and hidden villain in the same glass? Drink smart, not just a lot, and your brain cells will thank you in their normal, non-swollen size. Brushing right after meals. So you just finished eating. Maybe it was something garlicky, or sweet, or sticky. Whatever it was, you're thinking, time to brush my teeth and protect my pearly whites. You march straight to the bathroom like a dental superhero, toothbrush in hand, ready to fight off plaque before it even has a chance to say hello. But, plot twist, what if I told you that brushing your teeth right after a meal might actually be making things worse? Yep, that good habit, the one dentists are always praising, can quietly damage your enamel if you time it wrong. Especially if you've just eaten something acidic like citrus, tomatoes, vinegar-based dressings, wine, soda, or even fruit smoothies. Sound familiar? Welcome to the awkward world of too much of a good thing. Here's what's going on behind the scenes. When you eat, especially acidic or sugary stuff, your mouth becomes a mini acid party. That acid temporarily softens your enamel, the hard protective shell on your teeth. Your saliva is actually pretty good at neutralizing those acids and rebuilding your enamel over time. Shout out to nature. But that takes a little while, usually around 30 minutes to an hour. So what happens if you brush right away? Picture your enamel like wet chalk. Now imagine scrubbing that chalk with a bristly toothbrush. Not great, right? That's exactly what's happening in your mouth. You're literally scrubbing away at teeth that haven't recovered yet, while they're still soft and vulnerable. Over time, that means your enamel wears down faster. And once enamel's gone, it's gone. No regrowth, just sensitivity, yellowing, and a higher risk of cavities. Now here's the kicker. A lot of people do this thinking they're being extra responsible, especially after sweets. It feels like the right thing to do. You're trying to stop sugar from sticking around and rotting your teeth, right? Totally valid instinct. But ironically, if the timing is off, your well-meaning brushing spree turns into tiny daily damage. So what should you actually do? The better move is wait. Seriously, just wait. About 30 minutes. Let your saliva do its job and bring the pH in your mouth back to normal. If you really can't stand the taste of your meal lingering, you can rinse with water or chew some sugar-free gum to boost saliva flow. Or, if you're desperate, brush your teeth before meals instead, especially if you're about to eat something sugary. That way, you're starting with a clean mouth and you're not brushing over softened enamel afterward. There's also this thing called acid erosion, and it's super sneaky. It doesn't always show up as a sharp pain like a cavity would. Sometimes it's just that dull, tingly sensitivity to hot drinks or cold foods. Or maybe you notice your teeth looking yellower because the enamel is getting thinner and the darker dentin underneath is showing through. That's the slow, quiet damage of brushing too soon. You don't feel it until it's already done. And here's something weird. People who are super committed to oral health, like daily brushers, flossers, mouthwash users, are sometimes more at risk because they're overdoing it. Not with what they're doing, but when. Timing turns a good habit into a secret villain. So next time you're reaching for the toothbrush right after lunch or dinner, hit pause. Set a timer. Scroll your phone for 30 minutes. Take a walk. Do literally anything else while your mouth does its natural reset thing. Then brush like normal, and this time your enamel will actually thank you instead of silently suffering. Crazy, right? The thing we all do to protect our teeth could actually be speeding up their wear and tear if we're not paying attention to timing. Just one of those everyday good habits that sounds perfect in theory but hides a tiny little science trap. So yeah, brushing is great, but brushing right after you eat, that's where the danger sneaks in. Turns out even something as innocent as minty fresh breath has a secret dark side. Multitasking to stay productive. Let's be real. Who doesn't multitask these days? You've got a podcast playing while you reply to emails, a spreadsheet open next to a group chat, maybe even lunch in one hand and a to-do list in the other. It feels like you're winning, right? Like you've unlocked some secret productivity superpower. You're doing 3 things at once, while the rest of the world drags through one. Except, what if I told you multitasking isn't actually making you more productive? Worse, what if it's quietly making you slower, less focused, more stressed out, and mentally fried? Here's the truth. Your brain isn't built for multitasking the way we imagine it. It's not a laptop with a bunch of tabs open, calmly running everything at once. It's more like a spotlight, narrow, intense, and focused on one thing at a time. What you think is multitasking is actually something called task switching. Your brain is rapidly flipping back and forth between different tasks, and every time it switches, it loses a little momentum. Kind of like driving down the highway, then stopping, turning around, and trying to merge back into traffic over and over again. And that switching, it comes with a hidden cost. Researchers call it the switching penalty. Each time your brain jumps from one task to another, say from answering a Slack message to writing a report to checking your calendar, you lose focus, increase the chance of mistakes, and burn a little extra mental energy. Over time, that adds up to slower work, more errors, and more fatigue. So even though you feel busy, you're not necessarily being effective. Let's put it in everyday terms. Ever read a paragraph of something and realize you have no idea what you just read? That's task switching fatigue. Your brain was somewhere else. Or maybe you're toggling between apps and suddenly you forget what you were even trying to do. That's the cognitive fog sneaking in. And here's the wild part. Studies have shown that chronic multitaskers, people who do it all the time, actually become worse at focusing over time. Their brains start to crave distraction. So even when they try to do just one thing, they get twitchy, bored, restless. It's like trying to meditate after chugging 3 espressos. Now, don't get me wrong. There are things you can combine. You can fold laundry while listening to a podcast. You can walk your dog and brainstorm ideas. That kind of multitasking, where at least one task is mostly automatic, isn't the problem. The real issue is trying to focus on multiple mentally demanding things at once. Writing while replying to texts. Editing video while holding a conversation. Studying while scrolling TikTok. That kind of mental juggling is where your brain starts quietly burning out behind the scenes. You might not feel it right away. At first, it feels productive, but eventually you notice it. The mental exhaustion at the end of the day. The brain fog that hits mid-afternoon. The weird forgetfulness. the struggle to concentrate even when you want to. That's not just getting older or being busy. That's your brain waving a white flag. Want to know something even creepier? MRI scans have shown that frequent multitaskers have less density in the anterior cingulate cortex, the part of the brain that controls empathy, decision-making, and emotional regulation. That's right. Constant multitasking might not just mess with your focus, it could even be messing with how you relate to people. So what do you do instead? You don't have to throw away your phone or live like a monk. Just try single tasking for short bursts. Focus on one thing. Really focus for 25 minutes. That's the Pomodoro method, by the way. Then take a break. Turn off notifications during those blocks. Batch your tasks instead of mixing them. You'll be shocked how faster and calmer you feel. Here's the ironic twist. Trying to do more at once often means getting less done overall. Your brain isn't lazy. It just works best when it's not being yanked in 5 directions. And when you finally let it focus, that's when the real productivity magic happens. So the next time you catch yourself toggling between 7 windows, just remember, multitasking isn't a superpower. It's a silent productivity thief wearing a superhero cape. Using hand sanitizer constantly. Okay, quick flashback to 2020. You couldn't go anywhere without a little bottle of hand sanitizer in your pocket. Grocery store? Squirt. Office desk? Squirt. Touch a doorknob? Definitely squirt. For a while, it felt like hand sanitizer was the MVP of personal hygiene. A tiny, alcohol-scented guardian angel keeping all the bad stuff at bay. And to be clear, it was helpful, especially in situations where soap and water weren't an option. But here's where things get quietly weird. What happens when using hand sanitizer goes from once in a while to all day, every day? When it becomes a reflex, a ritual, a nervous habit? Well, you might be doing more harm than good. Let's break it down. First off, not all bacteria are bad. I know that feels wrong to say, but your skin is actually home to an entire microscopic ecosystem, billions of bacteria that hang out on your hands, arms, and everywhere else. This is your skin microbiome, and it's like a biological shield. It helps protect you from harmful germs, keeps your skin barrier healthy, and even talks to your immune system behind the scenes. Now imagine blasting that entire ecosystem with high-proof alcohol over and over again. You're not just killing the bad guys, you're wiping out the good ones too. It's like setting off a bomb in a crowded room just to take out one pickpocket. Sure, you got the threat, but you also wiped out everyone else who was doing their job. Over-sanitizing breaks down your skin's natural oils, weakens your barrier, and opens the door to irritation, dryness, cracks, and even more infections, not fewer. Ever wonder why your hands started getting flaky, red, or itchy after constant sanitizer use? That's your skin waving a tiny chapped white flag. And here's the kicker. By constantly eliminating all bacteria, you're actually giving your immune system less practice, less exposure, less training. Kind of like living in a padded room and then being thrown into a mosh pit. Your body isn't ready. In the long run, this can make you more prone to allergies, skin sensitivities, and possibly even autoimmune issues. There's a theory called the hygiene hypothesis that basically says when we grow up too clean, our immune systems get bored, and sometimes they start attacking harmless things just to keep busy. Yikes! But let's get specific. Hand sanitizers with more than 60% alcohol, which is most of them, are great for emergency germ zapping, but they don't remove dirt, grease, or harmful chemicals. And they're not meant to be your primary hygiene method unless you literally have no access to soap and water. Soap doesn't just kill, it lifts, binds, and rinses germs off your skin without destroying the whole bacterial neighborhood. Also, some hand sanitizers include triclosan, an antimicrobial ingredient that's been linked to hormone disruption and bacterial resistance. Thankfully, it's being phased out in many countries, but cheaper or older bottles might still contain it. Always worth checking the label. So what should you actually do? Use hand sanitizer when you need it, after touching public surfaces, before eating on the go, after sneezing in public, etc. But don't use it every 5 minutes just in case. And when you're home, near a sink, or in any place with a restroom nearby, wash your hands. Soap and water for 20 seconds. It's gentler, smarter, and doesn't annihilate your skin's entire defense team. And if you must use hand sanitizer often, like if you're a healthcare worker or just out and about a lot, follow it up with a good fragrance-free moisturizer. You're not being fussy, you're rebuilding the protective layer that your skin needs to stay healthy. Here's the wild irony. In trying to protect ourselves from germs, we may have accidentally made ourselves more vulnerable. Because cleanliness is great, but balance is better. Constant sanitizing feels safe, but when it becomes obsessive, it slowly chips away at the body's natural defenses. So the next time your hand hovers over that bottle for the 10th time in an hour, just pause for a sec. Ask yourself, do I actually need this right now? Or is this just habit? Because sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is give your skin a break. Taking vitamins daily, just in case. Let's talk about the little rainbow army in your kitchen cabinet. Those shiny bottles lined up like trophies. Vitamin C, vitamin D, B-complex, zinc, magnesium, maybe even a multivitamin that looks like it could power a small robot. You probably toss them back every morning with your coffee like a champ, thinking, better safe than sorry, right? Totally fair. It feels like a health safety net. But here's the part nobody tells you. Taking vitamins every day when you don't need them, that quiet little habit can backfire. Not dramatically, not instantly, but slowly, subtly, and sometimes in ways you don't even notice until things get weird. Let's start with the basic idea. Your body doesn't actually want an endless supply of vitamins floating around. It wants balance. And most of the time, if you're eating even a semi-decent diet, you're probably already getting what you need. Vitamins are micronutrients, which means your body only needs them in tiny amounts. And once those needs are met, piling on more doesn't give you extra energy or superpowers. In fact, it can do the opposite. For example, vitamin A is fat-soluble, meaning it gets stored in your body instead of flushed out. Too much over time? Liver damage, blurry vision, bone thinning, even hair loss. Vitamin D, also fat-soluble, can lead to calcium overload in your blood if oversupplemented. That means nausea, kidney stones, or in extreme cases, heart problems. Vitamin B6, a B vitamin, can cause nerve damage if taken in large amounts for too long. Even too much iron, if you're not iron deficient, can make you feel sick and strain your organs. But wait, you say, aren't these just vitamins? How can something so small cause such big issues? Simple answer, your body is smart, but it's not built for the more is always better mentality. It's built for just enough. And when you take extra without needing it, your body doesn't always know how to respond. It's kind of like watering a plant that's already soaked. At first, it looks okay, but if you keep dumping water just in case, the roots rot. Slowly, silently. Same thing here. You're not necessarily helping yourself. You're just overloading systems that were already fine. And here's the kicker. Most people don't even realize they don't need all those supplements. They think because they're tired or foggy or run down, a vitamin will fix it. But fatigue can come from lack of sleep, dehydration, stress, anemia, undereating, or even just too much screen time. A multivitamin won't fix your job burnout or your 3-hour TikTok scroll at midnight. Plus, vitamins aren't regulated like medicine. That means the label might say 100% daily value, but in reality, you're getting way more. So multivitamins stack fat-soluble vitamins like it's a competition, especially ones labeled men's energy or women's metabolism boost. And let's not even get started on those mega-dose gummies that taste like candy but pack 3 times the recommended daily intake. Now, don't get me wrong. Vitamins have their place. If you're deficient, absolutely. Take what your doctor recommends. If you're vegan and need B12 or low in iron, or live in a place with no sunlight in winter and need vitamin D, totally valid. Supplements can fill gaps, but they shouldn't be thrown in just in case, like breath mints or gum. Want to know something wild? Studies on daily multivitamins in healthy people haven't consistently shown a benefit for preventing major diseases like heart disease, cancer, or cognitive decline. In other words, for the average person, taking a daily multivitamin doesn't do much. But people keep doing it because it feels like the right thing, like a wellness insurance policy. So what should you do instead? Start by asking yourself, do I actually know if I'm low on anything? If the answer is not really, maybe it's time for a basic blood test, or at least take a break and notice how you feel. You might find that your body works just fine without that extra pill every morning, and that your wallet breathes a sigh of relief too. In the end, vitamins are tools, not cheat codes, and when used the wrong way, even the most innocent-looking supplement can slowly chip away at your health. You think you're building a stronger body, but you might just be giving it more work to clean up. So yeah, vitamins aren't evil, but that daily just-in-case habit, it might be doing more than you bargained for. Waking up early regardless of your chronotype. All right. Let's talk in the mornings. You know the drill. Winners wake up at 5 a.m. Every motivational post, every productivity guru, every lifestyle influencer with a smoothie bowl and a sunrise says the same thing. If you want to be successful, you need to get up early.
Hustle, grind, get ahead of the world while everyone else is asleep. But what if I told you that forcing yourself to wake up early when your body hates it might actually be ruining your health, wrecking your focus, and leaving you feeling like garbage for no reason? Here's the thing they never include in the morning routine videos. Not everyone is built for 5 a.m. wake-ups. Some people thrive in the early hours. They're called morning types or larks. But others? Total opposite. They're night owls. And that's not just personality, it's biology. It's called your chronotype, and it's basically your body's natural timing system. It controls when you feel awake, when you feel sleepy, when your brain fires best, and even when your hormones peak. And here's the wild part. Your chronotype isn't a mindset thing. It's mostly genetic. You're born with it. You didn't choose to hate mornings. Your body's clock just runs on a slightly different rhythm. Forcing yourself to wake up at 5 a.m. when your body's not ready, that's like trying to fly a plane with half the engine shut off. Let's break it down. If you're a natural night owl, your brain doesn't fully boot up until mid-morning. Your alertness, memory, and mood are all sluggish in the early hours, no matter how many alarms you set. So when you wake up early for work, school, or because some podcast told you that's what millionaires do, you're dragging yourself through the fog. And that fog, it's not laziness. It's something called social jet lag, the mismatch between your body's natural rhythm and your daily schedule. It feels like jet lag from travel, but you didn't even leave your house. You're just living against your internal clock, day after day. Here's what that does over time. You start sleeping less because you can't fall asleep early enough to match your new wake-up time. You wake up groggy, with cortisol and stress hormones already spiking too early. Your mood dips. You get irritable. Your focus tanks. And your immune system, digestion, and even metabolism can suffer. Yeah, all because you wanted to be disciplined. But here's the part no one tells you. You can still be productive without waking up at dawn. Chronotype doesn't mean lazy. It just means your peak hours are different. Maybe your brain lights up at 10 p.m. Maybe your creative flow starts at 8 p.m. That's not wrong. That's just you. In fact, some studies have shown that night owls are often more creative, better at problem solving in the evening, and more adaptive under pressure. Meanwhile, morning people might crush it early, but fade by late afternoon. It's not better or worse, it's just different wiring. The real problem is forcing yourself to be someone you're not. Waking up early just because it looks productive on Instagram doesn't guarantee success. In fact, it might just make you tired, grumpy, and secretly less effective than if you just worked with your own rhythm. Now, to be clear, if you have to get up early for a job, life, or school, that's life. But it doesn't mean you have to build your entire identity around it. You don't need a 4 a.m. yoga routine and green juice meditation to be disciplined. You just need consistency. Whatever your natural clock is, respect it. Build around it when you can. And if you're stuck waking up early for now, at least try to shift your bedtime gradually instead of forcing it all at once. Also, stop comparing yourself to morning people if you're not one. Their 5 a.m. glow is your 10 p.m. brilliance. Same energy, different hours. So yeah, early birds might get the worm, but night owls invent the flashlight. Just because a habit looks healthy doesn't mean it works for your body. And waking up early, if it fights your chronotype, might just be the quietest way to burn yourself out while thinking you're doing everything right. Eating small meals all day.
All right, let's paint the picture. You've heard that eating small meals all day keeps your metabolism running, right? Like your body is some kind of fireplace that needs to be stoked every few hours. Breakfast at 8, snack at 10, lunch at 12, protein bar at 3, dinner at 6, maybe even something light at 9, just to keep the fire alive. You feel like you're doing everything right. You're never too full, never too hungry. You're fueling your body, like the fitness blogs say. But what if I told you that this constant grazing habit, the one you've been told is super healthy, might actually be doing the exact opposite of what you want? Let's start with the basics. The idea behind eating small, frequent meals is usually one of two things. It speeds up your metabolism. It helps stabilize blood sugar. Sounds great, right? The problem, most of it is outdated or oversimplified science. Your metabolism isn't a wood stove. It doesn't need tiny snacks to stay on. What really matters is the total amount of food you eat in a day, not how many meals you split it into. Eating 6 tiny meals versus 3 regular ones? If the calories are the same, your metabolism doesn't really care. You're not burning more just because you're chewing more often. But here's where it gets tricky. Eating all day long can cause other problems that don't get talked about enough. First off, every time you eat, even a small snack, your body releases insulin, the hormone that helps move sugar from your blood into your cells. That's normal. But if you're eating constantly, insulin gets released constantly. And over time, this can mess with your body's ability to respond to insulin. It's like your cells stop listening. That's called insulin resistance, and it's one of the big contributors to things like weight gain, fatigue, and eventually type 2 diabetes. Not to mention, your digestive system needs breaks. When you're always eating, you're always digesting. Your gut never gets a chance to fully reset or do cleanup work. There is this process called the migrating motor complex. It's like your gut's cleaning crew that comes out in between meals to sweep things along. But it only kicks in when you're not eating. If you're grazing all day, that cleaning never really happens. You might end up with bloating, gas, or sluggish digestion, not because of what you're eating, but because of when you're eating. Then there's the psychological side. Constant grazing can mess with your hunger cues. Your body stops recognizing real hunger or fullness because it never gets a chance to feel either. You eat because the clock says so, not because your body says, "Hey, I'm ready." And that can turn into this weird relationship with food, where eating becomes mechanical, not intuitive. Also, let's be honest, small meals don't always stay small. That little snack turns into a full protein bar. That handful of almonds becomes a bowl. Add up 6 of those, and suddenly you're eating more than you think. And if you're trying to manage weight, that sneaky calorie creep can catch up fast. Now, are there some people who benefit from eating frequently? Absolutely. If you're diabetic, have blood sugar issues, are underweight, or have certain medical conditions, then smaller meals might help. If you're a serious athlete burning thousands of calories a day, spacing out meals can make sense too. But for most people, the constant grazing isn't helping nearly as much as they think. So what should you do instead? Try this. Eat when you're actually hungry, not just because 2 hours have passed. Give your body real meals, ones that actually satisfy you. Include protein, fat, and fiber so you stay full longer. Then let your body digest. Let yourself feel a little hungry before the next meal. That's normal. That's healthy. Hunger isn't the enemy. It's just your body's notification system. And if you do need a snack, no shame. Just make it intentional, not a panic grab out of habit. Tune in. Ask, am I bored, tired, stressed, or actually hungry. You'd be surprised how often we snack just to fill silence or fight anxiety. So yeah, eating small meals all day sounds healthy. It feels proactive. But sometimes it's just keeping your body in a state of constant digestion, constant insulin release, and confusion about what real hunger even is. Turns out your body doesn't want to be babysat with snacks every 2 hours. Sometimes it just wants a proper meal and a little peace and quiet in between. Wearing SPF every single day indoors. Okay, so this one's going to sound weird at first because it feels like the ultimate health flex, right? You've seen it everywhere. TikTok, YouTube, dermatologists on Instagram. Wear SPF every single day, even if you're just sitting at your desk. And it sounds smart, responsible, like you're taking skincare seriously, protecting your future self from sunspots, wrinkles, and scary things like skin cancer. So you start doing it. Every morning, rain or shine, you slather on that SPF 50 before you've even opened the curtains, and you feel like you're winning. But what if that super responsible habit might actually be quietly messing you up? Let's start with the science behind SPF. Sunscreen works by either blocking or absorbing UV rays, specifically UVA and UVB. UVB is the one that gives you sunburns. UVA is sneakier. It penetrates deeper and causes skin aging and long-term damage. Sounds terrifying, right? But here's the twist. Indoors, especially if you're not sitting right next to a big sunlit window all day, you're not actually getting that much UV exposure. Most regular glass blocks UVB entirely and filters out a lot of UVA. That means the so-called damage you're fighting off might not even be happening in the first place. And yet, every day, you're coating your skin in a layer of chemical or mineral sunscreen. That layer might not feel like much, but over time, it's doing more than just sitting there. For one, daily sunscreen, especially the heavy-duty types made for outdoor use, can clog pores, disrupt your skin's natural oil balance, and in some people even cause more breakouts, irritation, or sensitivity. Ever wonder why your protective routine is making your skin angrier? This might be why. Then there's the issue of your skin's relationship with sunlight. See, your body actually needs some sun exposure to make vitamin D, an essential nutrient tied to bone health, immune function, mood, and more. And while a few minutes of sun on your hands or face might not seem like much, overdoing sunscreen indoors can block even those tiny amounts. Over time, that could contribute to vitamin D deficiency without you even realizing it. You're not burning, but you're also not getting what your body needs. And here's another piece most people don't talk about: the additives in many sunscreens. Fragrance, preservatives, alcohols, and certain chemical filters can, in some cases, disrupt hormones, irritate sensitive skin, or even trigger allergic reactions. Now, that doesn't mean sunscreen is toxic or evil. It just means if you're slathering it on daily when you don't really need to, you're increasing exposure to stuff that might not be benefiting you. Now, this is not me saying don't wear sunscreen. Sunscreen is super important when you're going outside, driving, walking the dog, running errands, or even sitting near big windows all day. But the idea that you need a full SPF face every single morning just to sit under fluorescent lights, that's more skincare peer pressure than science. So what's a better approach? Think situational protection, not automatic protection. Ask, am I going outside today? Am I near a sunny window? Am I in front of blue light heavy screens for hours and hours? If the answer is yes, sure, wear a lightweight SPF that works for your skin. But if it's a gloomy indoor day with zero sun exposure, maybe give your skin a breather. Let it rest. Let it rebalance without extra layers on top. Also, keep in mind, there are other ways to support your skin without sunscreen. Things like antioxidants, vitamin C serums, for example. Hydration, diet, and sleep play a massive role in how your skin handles stress and aging. Sunscreen's just one piece of the puzzle, not the whole game. And remember, your skin is an organ, not a battlefield. It doesn't need to be in constant defense mode every hour of the day. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is just leave it alone. Let it breathe. Let it feel the morning light on your balcony without being told the sky is out to get it. So yeah, SPF is important. But 24/7 protection from indoor lighting? Maybe we don't need to be fighting shadows that hard. Overexercising. All right, let's talk about something that sounds almost impossible to criticize: working out. Because in a world where sitting is the new smoking, where every influencer has a six-pack and every app is shouting 10,000 steps or you've failed, it feels like moving more is always better, right? More cardio, more lifting, more hot yoga, more no excuses. But here's the part people don't always tell you. There is such a thing as too much exercise, and if you push your body past its breaking point often enough, even in the name of health, you could quietly be wrecking the very system you're trying to improve. Let's start with this. Your body isn't a machine. It's a living organism that grows, heals, and adapts in cycles. Stress, then rest. Challenge, then recovery. It's in the rest phase that your muscles rebuild, your hormones stabilize, your nervous system recalibrates. But when you skip that part, when you work out like it's a punishment or a daily obligation instead of a strategy, you tip your system into chronic stress mode. That's where overtraining creeps in. And it doesn't always look dramatic. You might just notice you're feeling tired all the time, even though you're doing everything right. You're sore for days instead of hours. You're getting weird headaches. Your sleep sucks. Your heart rate is higher than usual, even when you're just lying in bed. These are all little warning signs that your body's not bouncing back. It's waving a white flag. And get this. Overexercising can actually backfire on your immune system. When your body's under too much physical stress, it starts releasing more cortisol, your main stress hormone. And if that stays elevated, your immune defenses drop. That means more colds, more inflammation, slower healing. Your body's too busy trying to survive your workouts to deal with actual threats. But wait, there's more. If you're someone who trains hard and doesn't fuel properly, like skipping meals, eating way too clean, or always being in a calorie deficit, you're setting yourself up for hormonal chaos. In women, that can mean missed periods or early menopausal symptoms. In men, it can mess with testosterone, mood, and energy. In both, fatigue, brain fog, and stubborn weight gain, even while working out constantly. Oh, and that myth about exercise being a magic fix for mental health? Yes, moderate movement helps, but overtraining can do the opposite. When your body's exhausted and inflamed, your mood tanks. You get anxious, irritable, depressed, and suddenly your healthy habit starts making you feel worse, not better. Let's talk numbers real quick. You do not need to go hard 7 days a week. In fact, most fitness experts recommend 3 to 5 focused sessions per week, mixed with gentler activities like walking, stretching, or yoga. That's it. No need to kill it every day. No need to sweat until you're dizzy just to feel accomplished. And honestly, if your workouts start feeling like a job, or worse, a punishment, you've probably crossed that invisible line where health turns into obsession. When rest days make you feel guilty instead of strong, that's a red flag. So, how do you know if you're overdoing it? You're always sore or fatigued, you're getting injured more often, your sleep is terrible, even when you're tired, you feel anxious or depressed after working out, you've hit a plateau and nothing is changing. If even a few of those sound familiar, your body's trying to tell you, hey, I need a break. And here's the real twist. When you actually slow down and let your body recover, that's when results start to show. Your muscles grow, your energy improves, your motivation comes back. Recovery isn't weakness, it's the upgrade phase. So if you're out here grinding every day, sweating through the flu, ignoring fatigue because you think discipline means no rest, just know you might be overtraining yourself into burnout. Fitness is a lifelong game, not a one-month challenge. Treat your body like a partner, not a project. It'll carry you way further that way. Drinking green tea after meals. All right, this one's going to ruffle some feathers because green tea, that's like the superhero of beverages. Antioxidants, fat burning, heart healthy, brain boosting. It's been praised in every wellness article, YouTube video, and tea blog out there. You probably feel proud sipping a hot cup after your meal, like you're giving your body a bonus high five for making a healthy choice. But here's the catch. That innocent little cup of green tea you're sipping right after eating might actually be blocking your body from absorbing the very nutrients you just tried to eat. Let's break it down. Green tea contains something called tannins, natural compounds that give the tea its astringent, slightly bitter taste. Tannins are also found in red wine, dark chocolate, and coffee. And while they're not evil, they have a sneaky side effect. They bind to iron in your food and make it harder for your body to absorb. Now, iron's a big deal, especially the type called non-heme iron, which comes from plant-based foods like spinach, beans, nuts, lentils, and fortified grains. Your body already has a harder time absorbing this kind of iron compared to the heme iron found in meat. And when tannins show up, that absorption gets even worse. So imagine this. You eat a beautiful iron-rich meal, say a lentil salad with greens and a sprinkle of seeds. Then you wash it down with a piping hot cup of green tea. Sounds healthy, right? But what actually happens is those tannins jump in like little bouncers and grab onto the iron before your body can. They lock it up, escort it out, and suddenly all that effort you made to get enough iron, wasted. Over time, this can lead to iron deficiency, especially if you're already at risk, like if you're vegetarian or vegan, menstruating, pregnant, or have naturally low iron levels. And iron deficiency isn't just about being tired. It can cause brain fog, cold hands and feet, brittle nails, shortness of breath, and in extreme cases, anemia. And here's the twist. Green tea also contains catechins, those famous antioxidants that help reduce inflammation and protect cells. But those catechins can interfere with the absorption of folic acid, another super important nutrient that your body uses for DNA repair, red blood cell formation, and brain function. Folic acid deficiency can sneak up on you and lead to mood swings, memory issues, and fatigue. And again, it's not something you'd expect to happen while sipping green tea. Now, am I saying green tea is bad? Nope. Green tea is amazing, just not right after meals. So what should you do instead? It's simple. Just give your body a little buffer. Wait about an hour after eating before you drink green tea. That gives your digestive system time to absorb key nutrients before the tannins and catechins start doing their thing. Or, if you must have a warm drink with your meal, try herbal tea like chamomile, ginger, or peppermint. They won't mess with nutrient absorption and can actually help digestion. You can also drink your green tea between meals, like mid-morning or mid-afternoon. That's when it shines the most, anyway, helping boost metabolism and focus without interfering with nutrient intake. And here's one more sneaky tip. If you do drink green tea with a meal, pair it with vitamin C-rich foods like bell peppers, citrus, or tomatoes. Vitamin C can actually boost iron absorption and help cancel out the effect of tannins. So it's kind of like a nutritional tug of war, and C is the friend that helps you win. Bottom line, green tea isn't the villain. It's just misunderstood. You're not doing something wrong by sipping it after dinner, but if you're doing it every single day and wondering why your energy is low or your blood work keeps coming back a little off, this might be the missing piece. It's one of those habits that sounds healthy and is healthy, just not at the wrong time. Chewing gum constantly. Okay, this one might catch you off guard. Chewing gum feels like such a harmless little habit, right? You're not lighting a cigarette, you're not chugging soda, you're just chewing, freshening your breath, giving your mouth something to do while you think or drive or try not to eat an entire bag of chips at your desk. Honestly, it even feels kind of productive. But here's the thing no one really talks about. Constantly chewing gum might be quietly messing with your body in ways that don't show up right away, but build over time, especially if it's something you do every day, multiple times a day. Let's start with the obvious one, jaw tension. When you chew gum for long periods, you're engaging a muscle called the masseter, which is one of the strongest muscles in your body, pound for pound. It's the one responsible for all the up and down motion of chewing. And when it's constantly working without a break, it gets overworked, tight, and inflamed. You ever get that weird ache near your ears? Or feel like your jaw clicks or pops when you open your mouth too wide? That might not be from grinding your teeth at night. It could be from hours of daily chewing. Over time, this kind of repetitive motion can lead to TMJ issues. That's short for temporal mandibular joint disorder. Basically, the joints where your jaw connects to your skull get irritated, and it can cause headaches, ear pain, even neck pain. And no, you don't need to be chewing like a cow for this to happen. Even subtle, casual gum chewing done for long stretches can contribute, especially if you're only chewing on one side of your mouth, which a lot of people unconsciously do. That creates muscle imbalances that can mess with your whole facial alignment. But wait, there's more. Let's talk about what happens in your digestive system when you chew gum constantly. Your body's smart. When you chew, it assumes food is coming. So your brain sends signals to your stomach to start releasing digestive enzymes and acid to break that food down. But here's the twist. There is no food, just gum. So your stomach's like, cool, let's get ready to digest. And then nothing happens. Do that often enough, and your stomach might start overproducing acid unnecessarily. This can lead to bloating, gas, or even acid reflux in some people. Basically, you're tricking your digestive system into going through the motions over and over for no reason. And now let's look at artificial sweeteners, because unless you're chewing all natural, sugar-sweetened gum, which, let's be real, most people aren't, your gum likely contains things like sorbitol, xylitol, or aspartame. These sugar alcohols are what keep your gum sugar-free, but they come with baggage. Sorbitol in particular can act like a laxative when consumed in large amounts. Even if you're not swallowing it, chewing gum all day long can lead to some of it getting absorbed or swallowed indirectly through saliva. If you're chewing 5, 6, 7 sticks a day, don't be surprised if you start noticing some sudden bathroom trips.
Also, these sweeteners can disrupt your gut microbiome, especially in large amounts. They mess with the balance of good bacteria in your digestive system, which can affect everything from immunity to mood to cravings. And weirdly enough, chewing gum to avoid snacking can actually backfire. Some people chew gum thinking it'll trick their brain into not feeling hungry. But in some cases, it has the opposite effect. The chewing triggers your digestive system, your stomach gets prepped for food, and then when no food shows up, boom, intense hunger, especially cravings for carbs or sugar. It's like your body's saying, "You got my hopes up, now I want bread." And for a few people, it even messes with facial tension and headaches. The repetitive chewing motion, combined with jaw tightness, can radiate tension through the temples or behind the eyes. It's sneaky and gradual, so most people don't even trace it back to the gum. Now, is gum all bad? No. Used occasionally, gum can help freshen your breath, reduce cravings temporarily, or even help with focus. There's some evidence that chewing gum during tests or while driving might improve alertness and concentration. It's not evil. But when it becomes a background habit you do constantly, that's when it starts tipping into the quietly messing you up category. So here's a good rule of thumb. Treat gum like coffee or spicy food. Enjoy it when you need it, but not all day, every day without thinking. And if you notice any jaw tension, bloating, weird stomach stuff, or even more headaches lately, maybe check how often you've been chewing. Because sometimes the harmless habits are the ones that sneak up on you hardest.
Holding in sneezes or coughs in public. All right, let's set the scene. You're in a quiet elevator, or maybe a packed meeting, or sitting in a movie theater next to strangers, popcorn in hand, everything silent, and suddenly you feel it coming, that familiar tickle deep in your nose or throat. Uh-oh, a sneeze or a cough, and now your brain goes into panic mode. Nope, can't do this here, must suppress at all costs. So what do? You clamp your lips together, hold your breath, maybe even pinch your nose or forcefully swallow. Anything to stop the sound from coming out. It's a habit a lot of us picked up during the pandemic, or even before, because nobody wants to be that person who draws attention or makes others uncomfortable. But here's the catch. Holding in sneezes and coughs isn't just uncomfortable. It can actually be dangerous, like surprisingly dangerous. Let's start with sneezing. A normal sneeze propels air out of your nose and mouth at speeds of up to 100 miles per hour. That's not an exaggeration. It's like a tiny hurricane blasting out of your face. And the whole point is to expel irritants, dust, pollen, viruses, whatever your body's trying to eject. Now imagine all that pressure building up and having nowhere to go. When you block a sneeze, especially by pinching your nose and clamping your mouth, you're essentially turning your head into a pressurized container. And yeah, that pressure has to go somewhere. Sometimes it just gives you that weird buzzing sensation behind your eyes. But in rare cases, people have actually ruptured blood vessels, damaged eardrums, or even fractured parts of their throat. No joke. A few documented cases show people tearing their pharynx. That's the area at the back of your throat, just from suppressing a sneeze. Others have blown air into their neck tissues, causing painful swelling and even trouble breathing. All from what felt like a polite little gesture to avoid being awkward in public. Now let's talk about coughs. Coughing is your body's reflex to clear your airway. It's meant to eject mucus, irritants, or sometimes even prevent choking. So when you hold in a cough, especially one that's trying to forcefully come out, you're messing with that built-in emergency system. Instead of clearing out the gunk, you trap it.
You suck it deeper into your lungs or sinuses. Over time, this can increase the risk of things like infections, especially if you're already sick. Your lungs want that stuff out. You're just shoving it back in. And even beyond the physical effects, there's the pressure problem again. Suppressed coughing can increase pressure in your chest and throat, just like a sneeze can, but sometimes with even more strain because people try to muffle it with their whole body, like curling inward, crossing their arms, swallowing hard. That can lead to muscle strain, especially in the neck and chest, and can even trigger headaches. Now, it's totally understandable why people do it. Nobody wants to look gross or spread germs or make others anxious, especially now in a world hyper-aware of every little sniffle. But here's the thing. You can cough or sneeze safely without hurting yourself or offending everyone around you. Grab your elbow. Use your sleeve. Turn away. Cough gently if you can. And for sneezes, let them out, but not like a cannonball. You don't have to unleash the full beast. You can sneeze into a tissue or your arm in a controlled way. Suppressing those reflexes just to seem polite is like slamming the brakes on a moving car without warning. Your body doesn't like it. It was designed to do this stuff for a reason. And get this, if you're a regular sneeze or cough suppressor, it can even lead to long-term throat tightness, vocal strain, or anxiety around public speaking or being in quiet rooms. You start preemptively tensing your body all the time. That's not just uncomfortable, it's exhausting. So next time that sneeze creeps up in the middle of a meeting, take a second and remember, letting it out might feel awkward, but holding it in might be quietly wrecking parts of you that weren't built to hold pressure like that. Seriously, your eardrums will thank you. Standing desks all day. Let's talk about the standing desk trend for a minute. You've probably seen the hype, sitting is the new smoking. So what's the fix? Standing desks. They're sleek, they're modern, they make you feel like a Silicon Valley genius who's about to invent a productivity app and drink some kale juice. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with the idea of breaking up long sitting sessions. Sitting for 10 hours straight every day definitely isn't great for your body. We're all aware of that now. So people went hard in the other direction and stayed there. Enter the standing desk all day habit. No stool, no chair, no breaks, just you, your desk, and gravity slowly pulling at your knees, hips, spine, and feet for 8+ hours. Sounds heroic, right? But here's the thing. Standing all day isn't some magical health solution. In fact, it can mess you up in totally different ways than sitting does. Let's start with your legs and feet. When you stand still for long periods, especially without shifting your weight or moving, you reduce the circulation in your lower body. Your veins are working against gravity to push blood back up toward your heart. And without muscle movement to help that process along, fluid starts to pool down low. That's why people who stand too long often get swollen ankles, achy knees, or varicose veins. Fun fact, store clerks and factory workers have been dealing with this long before ergonomic desks ever existed. Then there's your lower back. You'd think standing would take pressure off your spine, but nope, not when you're holding the same posture for hours. Your muscles end up doing this weird tug of war. Your glutes disengage, your hip flexors tighten, and your lower back becomes the middleman holding everything together. Result? Chronic tightness, maybe even disc compression over time. And don't even get started on your feet. Human feet were built for movement, not for staying perfectly flat and still on a hard surface for half the day. That's a fast track to things like plantar fasciitis. If you've ever felt that stabbing heel pain in the morning, you know it's no joke. Standing in place puts pressure on your arches, your heels, and your knees in weird ways. It's like forcing your body to hold a yoga pose, but not the relaxing kind, for way too long. Now here's the kicker. Even though standing burns a bit more energy than sitting, it doesn't improve productivity or focus for most people. In fact, studies show that prolonged standing can lead to mental fatigue and distraction. You're more likely to fidget, shift around, or even start slouching without realizing it. That power stance ends up becoming the leaning on the desk like you're about to pass out stance. So should you ditch the standing desk altogether? Not at all. The problem isn't standing. It's the all-day part. The real goal should be movement and variety. Switch between sitting and standing. Use a stool or leaning chair to take pressure off. Walk around while you're on calls. Stretch your calves. Change positions every 30 or 60 minutes if you can. Some people swear by anti-fatigue mats or footrests, and honestly, those can help a lot if you're going to stand for more than a few minutes at a time. What's wild is that the standing desk was supposed to be the cure for sedentary living, but then it quietly became just another rigid habit. The same way people used to be glued to their desk chairs, now they're glued to their standing platforms. Different posture, the same trap. So here's the takeaway. Standing desks aren't the villain, but standing still all day kind of is. Your body was made to move, shift, bend, stretch, and walk. Any position held for hours, no matter how ergonomic it looks on paper, is going to cause problems eventually. If you're trying to be healthier at work, awesome. Just remember, movement, not position. The best desk isn't a standing desk or a sitting desk. It's a dynamic one where you actually move. Your knees, back, and feet will be way happier, and so will your focus.
Daily deep cleaning your ears. All right, let's get personal for a sec. Be honest, how often do you clean your ears? Like really get in there with a cotton swab and do the old twist and scoop. Maybe after every shower? Maybe every single morning like it's part of your sacred hygiene ritual? You feel that little pop of satisfaction when the swab comes out looking, let's say, used. Like, yeah, that was necessary. But here's the uncomfortable truth. That daily deep ear cleaning habit, the one you think is keeping you clean and healthy, it's probably doing way more harm than good. In fact, it might be the reason your ears feel itchy, clogged, or irritated in the first place. Let's start with what earwax actually is. Earwax isn't dirt, it's not gross, it's not some toxic sludge your body forgot to get rid of. It's a natural, useful substance that your body makes on purpose. Technically called cerumen, earwax is made by glands in your ear canal. Its job? To trap dust, bacteria, dead skin, and other stuff you don't want crawling toward your eardrum. It's also slightly acidic and has antibacterial properties, basically acting like a security guard for your ears. Now here's the cool part. Your ears are self-cleaning. As new skin cells grow inside your ear canal, they slowly push older wax out toward the opening, where it dries, flakes, or falls out naturally. It's one of the few parts of your body with a built-in conveyor belt system. You don't need to go digging around in there like you're mining for gold. But when you use cotton swabs, or hairpins, or keys, or any weird tool people stick in their ears, you mess that system up. What usually happens, you end up pushing wax deeper in, like way deeper, past the point where your ear can clear it out on its own. That creates impacted wax, which can block the canal, dull your hearing, cause pressure, trigger ringing, tinnitus, and even lead to infections. And ironically, the more you dig, the more irritated your ear gets. The skin in your ear canal is super thin and sensitive.
Constant friction from daily cleaning can cause micro tears, dryness, or inflammation. That makes your ear feel itchy or uncomfortable, which leads you to clean it even more. See the cycle? In some cases, deep cleaning can go seriously wrong. People have perforated their eardrums with cotton swabs. That's a tear in the membrane that separates your ear canal from your middle ear. It hurts. It can cause temporary hearing loss, and yeah, it needs medical attention. So what should you do instead? Here's the honest answer. Leave your ears alone most of the time. Just wash the outside of your ears with a washcloth. If you see visible wax near the opening, you can gently wipe it away. No poking, no twisting. If you're really prone to wax buildup, or you wear earbuds all day, maybe do an occasional rinse using a few drops of mineral oil or saline solution to soften things up. But even that shouldn't be a daily thing. And if you feel clogged, go see a professional. Audiologists and ENT doctors have tools to safely remove excess wax without damaging anything. They're not going in there with a Q-tip, trust me. Now, of course, this all sounds a little backwards because we've been raised to think that a clean ear means no wax at all. But that's marketing. That's the cotton swab industry telling you that your body's natural defense system is something gross you need to fight every morning. The truth? That little bit of wax is supposed to be there. It's not a sign of poor hygiene. It's a sign your ears are doing their job. So if you're jabbing at your ear canals every single day thinking you're helping, pause. You're not cleaning. You're undoing what your body was doing just fine on its own. And if you're really chasing that ultra-clean feeling, go floss instead. Your teeth actually do need help. Your ears, they've got this.
Using blue light blocking glasses all day. Okay, let's talk about something trendy. You've seen them. Maybe you even own a pair. Those sleek, amber-tinted lenses that claim to block all the evil blue light from your screens. You wear them at work. You wear them while scrolling at night. Maybe you even wear them while binge-watching Netflix on your tablet. Because, hey, eye protection, right? Blue light blocking glasses have become the new health accessory, like water bottles or fitness trackers. You wear them, and it feels like you're making a smart move, like you're out here defending your eyeballs from the modern world. But what if I told you that wearing them all day, every day, especially during daylight hours, is kind of like walking around with sunscreen at midnight? Not only unnecessary, but possibly messing with your brain's natural rhythm? Yep, let's unpack this. So, first, what's blue light? Blue light is a high-energy visible light that's naturally present in sunlight. It's what helps keep us alert and awake during the day. When your eyes detect blue light, especially in the morning, it tells your brain, hey, it's daytime. Let's be alert. Let's focus. Let's stop making melatonin, which is your body's natural sleep hormone. That's why getting sunlight early in the day is so important for your sleep schedule. Your brain needs that blue light cue to reset your internal clock, your circadian rhythm. Now, digital screens like phones, laptops, TVs also emit blue light, though in much smaller amounts than the sun. And yes, too much screen exposure at night can mess with melatonin and make it harder to fall asleep. That's where blue light blocking glasses come in handy. Wearing them at night can help your brain start winding down naturally without getting tricked into thinking it's still daytime. But here's where people get it wrong. They start wearing those glasses all day, including in the morning and afternoon, when your body needs blue light. That's when it backfires. By blocking blue light all the time, you may be dulling your alertness, disrupting your energy levels, and even confusing your body's sleep-wake cycle. It's like telling your brain it's dusk all day long. No wonder you feel foggy or weirdly tired, even though you've been staring at a screen for hours. Your brain doesn't just rely on coffee and alarms to know when to be awake. It depends on light exposure. Natural daylight, especially in the blue light spectrum, is the anchor that tells your system what time it is. Take that away, and your internal rhythm drifts. That's when you get inconsistent energy, low focus, and even mood dips. And here's another layer to this. Some research suggests that our eyes have evolved to handle natural blue light during the day without issue. It's nighttime exposure that's unnatural, because for most of human history, we didn't have glowing rectangles lighting up our faces at 11 p.m. That's the mismatch. That's the problem. So what's the fix? Simple. Be strategic. Use blue light blocking glasses selectively, not constantly. Wear them at night, especially if you're working late or watching TV before bed. That's when blocking blue light makes sense. You're mimicking natural darkness and helping your body ease into sleep mode. But during the day, especially in the morning and afternoon, skip them. Let your eyes soak in natural daylight or even indoor blue light from screens. It tells your brain this is wake-up time. This is focus time. And if you really want to help your body out, step outside for 5 to 10 minutes of real sunlight in the morning. That's better than any pair of amber lenses. Now, if you're wearing blue light glasses during the day because of eye strain, that's a little different. Most of that strain actually comes from screen glare, dryness, or poor posture, not the blue light itself. What helps more than the glasses? Taking screen breaks, blinking more, using proper lighting, adjusting your monitor height. Those will give you more relief than blocking blue light alone. So yeah, blue light blockers are useful, but only when used at the right time. Wearing them all day, 24/7, isn't helping you. In fact, it might be tricking your brain into thinking the sun never rises. And your body? It doesn't like living in permanent twilight. You don't need to cancel the glasses. Just let them rest during the day. Your eyes and your sleep schedule will thank you. Overplanning your day for productivity. Okay, real talk. Have you ever had one of those days where you sat down, opened your planner or app, and filled in every single hour with a task, like 7 a.m., wake up and stretch, 7:15 a.m., make healthy breakfast, 7:45 a.m., answer emails, 8:15 a.m., finish presentation, 9 a.m., client call, and so on, all the way until bedtime? Feels productive, right? Like you're the boss of your life. Like today's the day you finally get everything done, crush your to-do list, and ascend into hyper-efficient adult mode. But here's the weird part. Those meticulously planned days, they almost never go as expected. A single interruption, one surprise email,
One meeting that runs long, one mood swing, and suddenly the whole plan crashes like a row of dominoes. And instead of feeling productive, you feel behind. You feel like you're failing your own schedule. That's the sneaky problem with overplanning. It's a good habit that feels like control, but it's actually setting you up for stress, burnout, and disappointment. Let's break this down. When you cram your schedule full, every hour, every minute, you leave zero margin for life to happen. And life will happen. Someone will call, your brain will fog, your stomach will growl. Something will break, run late, or require more mental energy than you expected. And when there's no wiggle room, every little delay becomes a crisis. A simple detour feels like a failure. You start mentally punishing yourself for not keeping up with your own impossible standards. Ironically, overplanning, something meant to boost productivity, can lead to decision fatigue, anxiety, and even procrastination. Why? Because your brain sees that giant mountain of tasks and goes, nope, too much, I'm out. This is where people confuse structure with control. Yes, it's great to plan your priorities. Yes, it helps to block off time for focused work. But if you turn your day into a military-style itinerary with no breathing room, you're creating a trap. One bad hour ruins the whole day. So think of your brain like a battery, not a robot. It needs recovery time, flexibility, spontaneity. You might be laser-focused for 2 hours, then hit a mental wall. You need time to recover from that, but an overplanned day won't let you. Even worse, overplanners often don't account for energy levels. They plan based on time, not how much energy a task actually needs. So they end up scheduling 3 intense, focus-heavy tasks back to back, and then wonder why they feel like melting into the couch by noon. Here's another thing people don't realize. Busy doesn't mean productive. Just because your calendar looks full doesn't mean you're moving the needle on anything important. A jam-packed schedule can hide the fact that you're avoiding deep work or using small tasks as a way to feel accomplished without actually progressing. So what's the fix? It's not to ditch planning completely. It's to plan with space. To design your day like a living thing, not a tightrope. Here's what that looks like. Leave buffer time between major tasks, 15 to 30 minutes to reset, breathe, or catch up if things run over. Start with your top 1 to 2 priorities. What really needs your best energy today? Everything else can flex. Use time blocks as zones, not strict appointments. For example, creative work from 10 to 12, not write 1,000 words between 10 a.m. and 10:45 a.m. Expect the unexpected. Build in time for interruptions or brain fog. And most importantly, don't punish yourself if things shift. That's normal. Also, keep in mind, planning is a tool, not a moral scoreboard. You don't win in life because you followed a plan perfectly. You win when you get the important stuff done without destroying your mood, mental health, or momentum. Some of the most successful people don't plan every hour. They just protect a few key hours for deep focus and leave the rest flexible. That's how they stay consistent without burning out. So yeah, planning is good, but overplanning, that's just a sneaky way to stress yourself out with a to-do list disguised as a schedule. Let your plan breathe, let your brain breathe. You'll actually get more done and feel better doing it.
Sleeping in absolute silence. You know that advice everyone throws around when you're struggling to sleep? Make your room completely quiet. No distractions, no sound, total silence. Seems logical, right? Peace and quiet equals restful sleep. So maybe you buy blackout curtains. Unplug every blinking charger. Put your phone on airplane mode. You might even start wearing earplugs, just to make sure nothing breaks that sacred silence. But here's the plot twist. Absolute silence isn't always good for you. In fact, for some people, it can mess up your sleep way more than it helps. Let's talk about why. First, humans didn't evolve sleeping in dead silence. For most of history, we slept outside, in huts, in shared spaces, surrounded by natural ambient noise, wind rustling, insects chirping, water flowing, people breathing. Silence wasn't the norm. It wasn't even possible. So when your brain registers total silence, it can actually be interpreted as unnatural. It stays slightly on edge, thinking, why is it so quiet? What's about to happen? Because here's the kicker. Silence in nature usually means danger. Think about it. Birds stop chirping when a predator is nearby. In total silence, your ancient survival brain starts scanning for threats. Even if you're not aware of it, your nervous system might stay just a little activated, waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that can mess with your ability to fall into deep, restorative sleep. Then there's this. When everything's quiet, small sounds feel huge. A car door outside, a cat walking across the floor. Your partner is breathing weird. In silence, your brain amplifies those noises. You snap awake faster. You focus on every little creak like it's a burglar. And now you're not sleeping, you're monitoring. Now flip the script. Ever notice how some people fall asleep faster with a fan on? Or with rain sounds? Or soft music? That's because low, consistent background noise, also called pink noise or white noise, helps mask sudden sounds. It gives your brain something gentle to focus on, so it's not latching on to every little squeak in the night. This is especially true for people with anxiety, PTSD, or even just busy minds. Silence gives their brain too much room to spiral, but a soft, steady hum, that can act like a buffer. It says, hey, everything's okay. You can relax now. Even babies sleep better with background noise. That's why white noise machines are a thing for nurseries. It mimics the constant whooshing sound of the womb. Now, I'm not saying go blast Metallica at bedtime. Too much noise can absolutely be disruptive, but the point is chasing pure silence might be backfiring. Here's something wild. Some studies have found that people who sleep in too quiet environments actually wake up more often, even if they don't remember it. Their brains are too reactive, too alert, like they're waiting for something to go wrong. So what can you do instead? Try white noise, soft static, fan sounds, or rain recordings. Pink noise is even better for some people. It's like a deeper, softer version of white noise, more like waves or wind. You could even go natural. Open a window and let distant traffic or nighttime nature sounds become part of your sleep environment. Apps like Calm or Rain have loops that play non-distracting background audio all night.
Also, be cautious with earplugs, especially if you live somewhere you need to be alert to alarms or kids. Blocking everything out can be disorienting, and uncomfortable earplugs can lead to earwax compaction over time. Bottom line, silence isn't always golden. Especially when it comes to sleep, it can be a double-edged sword. Too much of it and your ancient brain kicks into night watch mode. A little background sound, on the other hand, might be just the thing your brain needs to chill out and drift off. So if you've been lying in the dark, obsessing over the sound of your own heartbeat in a perfectly silent room, maybe don't fight it. Add a little noise. Give your brain something soft to rest on. You might finally get the sleep you've been trying so hard to find. Always eating clean. Let's talk about something that sounds super responsible and healthy, but might actually be quietly messing you up. Clean eating. Yep, that thing where you're always reaching for the organic kale, skipping anything that looks remotely processed, side-eyeing carbs, reading every ingredient label like it's a legal document. You're doing it for your health, right? But here's the uncomfortable truth. Obsessing over clean eating can actually make you feel worse, physically, mentally, and emotionally. First, let's be clear. Eating nutritious food is obviously good. No one's saying go live off powdered donuts and gas station hot dogs. But when you start treating food like it exists on a moral spectrum, pure versus toxic, clean versus dirty, you're not just feeding your body anymore. You're feeding a mindset. And that mindset, it can turn toxic real fast. Ever heard of orthorexia? It's not as well known as anorexia or bulimia, but it's just as sneaky. Orthorexia is an unhealthy obsession with pure or perfect eating. It starts with good intentions, wanting to feel better, be healthier, maybe fix your digestion or clear your skin, but it slowly morphs into fear. Fear of ingredients, fear of food groups, fear of losing control, fear of eating something that's not 100% clean. Suddenly, you're turning down dinners with friends because the restaurant uses canola oil. You're spending hours meal prepping to avoid hidden additives. You feel guilty for eating bread. You're anxious around birthday cake. And guess what? That stress wrecks your body. When you're constantly in food anxiety mode, your cortisol rises. Your digestion actually gets worse. Your sleep suffers. Your immune system weakens, all while you're trying so hard to be healthy. And here's something even more ironic. Cutting out too many foods can lead to nutrient deficiencies. You need fats. You need carbs. You need a variety of fibers and proteins, some of which come from foods you might call processed, fortified grains, legumes, dairy, even canned veggies. Not every processed food is evil. Balance isn't just allowed, it's necessary. Also, clean eating is often built on a mountain of wellness myths. People caught out gluten, dairy, or soy with no medical reason. Or they fear MSG, preservatives, or food dyes based on one sketchy article they saw in 2012. But most of those ingredients have been studied and cleared for safety. Meanwhile, the stress of avoiding them is doing more harm than the food ever could. Want another twist? Constantly trying to eat clean can mess with your gut bacteria. Yep, your microbiome thrives on diversity, not just of plants, but of all types of foods. When your diet becomes too narrow, your gut bugs start starving. You may actually get more bloated, more gassy, or more irregular despite eating cleaner. Then there's the social and emotional damage. Food becomes a battlefield instead of a source of pleasure or connection. You might start judging yourself or others based on what's on the plate. You miss out on spontaneous moments. You become isolated. And that's not wellness. That's a trap. Here's the reality. The healthiest people aren't the ones eating perfectly 24/7. They're the ones who eat consistently, who enjoy food without fear, who knows how to balance nutrition with joy. That means saying yes to salad and pizza, drinking green juice and having dessert, buying the organic stuff when it makes sense, but not losing sleep if it doesn't. Also, let's not ignore the class issue here. Clean eating is expensive. Not everyone has access to grass-fed meats, farmers markets, and Himalayan sea salt. And guess what? People who grow up on frozen meals or fast food can still be healthy, happy, and strong. Shaming someone's food doesn't make you more enlightened. It makes you judgmental. So yeah, that constant drive to eat clean, it's not always as clean as it looks. If it's making you anxious, isolated, rigid, or nutritionally imbalanced, then the habit is no longer helping. It's hurting. Food isn't supposed to be scary. It's supposed to nourish you, not just your body, but your mind and your life. So maybe the cleanest thing you can do is get a little messy sometimes and just enjoy your damn meal. Drinking lemon water every morning. All right, this one's practically a social media wellness badge. I start my day with warm lemon water every morning, said with pride, maybe even a little smugness. It sounds pure. It sounds healthy. It sounds like something a glowing yoga instructor would do at sunrise. And hey, it's just lemon and water. How could that possibly be a bad thing? Here's the twist. Lemon water isn't evil, but doing it every single morning, especially the way many people do it, can actually do more harm than good over time. Let's unpack it. So first off, what's the appeal? People drink lemon water for all kinds of reasons. It detoxes your body. It boosts digestion. It kickstarts your metabolism. It helps your skin. It alkalizes your body. Sounds great, right? But most of those benefits? Kind of overhyped, and some of them flat out wrong. Let's tackle the big one first. It detoxes your body. Nope, that's what your liver and kidneys do. You don't need lemon water to activate your organs like some magical switch. If lemon water is flushing anything, it's probably just making you pee more, which is fine until it isn't, because too much of that can leave you dehydrated without even realizing it, especially if you're also downing coffee right after. Then there's the acid problem. Lemons are highly acidic, on par with vinegar, and when you drink that acidity first thing in the morning, especially on an empty stomach, guess what takes the hit? Your tooth enamel. That outer protective layer on your teeth gets softer when exposed to acid. And if you brush your teeth too soon after drinking lemon water, which many people do, you're literally scrubbing away the enamel while it's weakened. Over time, that can lead to tooth sensitivity, yellowing, and higher risk of cavities. And ironically, bad breath. You're trying to glow from within, but your teeth are suffering quietly every day. And speaking of your stomach, let's talk about acid reflux. If you're someone who deals with heartburn, GERD, or just that occasional weird burning sensation in your throat, lemon water can make it worse. You're adding pure citric acid into a system that might already be irritated. It's like poking a beehive when all you wanted was honey. Now, let's talk about the alkalizing myth. People love to say lemons alkalize the body because they become alkaline after being metabolized. But here's the science. Your body regulates its pH on its own. It keeps your blood at a very narrow, very stable range no matter what you eat or drank. Your stomach is acidic because it needs to be. Your intestines are more neutral. And your urine fluctuates based on what you've eaten or drank. So yeah, your lemon water isn't changing the chemistry of your body in some magical way. It's just lemon water. Now, to be fair, there are some mild benefits. It might encourage you to drink more water, which is great. It has a little vitamin C, but you'd get way more from an orange. It can feel like a nice, mindful ritual to start your day. But the problem isn't the lemon water itself. It's the daily repetition without thinking about the downsides. If you love the ritual, no one's telling you to stop. But here's what you should do to protect yourself. Use a straw. This helps bypass your teeth and reduce acid contact. Rinse with plain water after drinking and wait 30 minutes before brushing your teeth. Don't chug it on an empty stomach if you're prone to acid issues. Don't pretend it's a miracle drink. It's just warm water with a sour twist. And please, for the love of your dentist, don't drink straight lemon juice thinking it's extra potent. That's just acid in a glass. So yeah, that morning lemon water might seem harmless, even elegant, but it's a classic case of a tiny daily habit adding up in sneaky ways. Your teeth, your gut, and your enamel deserve a little respect. The next time you raise that glass of lemon water and think, I'm starting my day right, just remember, even something that feels clean can have a messy side. Prioritizing low-fat everything. Let's play a little word game. When I say low-fat, what comes to mind? Probably healthy, smart, responsible, better choice, right? That's how most of us were raised to think. Low-fat yogurt? Good. Fat-free salad dressing? Smart. Skim milk? Of course. Because for decades, we've been trained to believe that fat is the villain, the cause of obesity, heart disease, high cholesterol, the boogeyman hiding in your kitchen cabinet. So we did what we thought we were supposed to do. We removed the fat from everything. But here's the wild twist. In cutting out fat, we may have created a whole new problem. Because when fat goes out, something else always has to come in. And that something, usually isn't better. Let's start with why fat got such a bad rap in the first place. Back in the 1970s and 80s, nutrition guidelines started pointing fingers at dietary fat as the main driver of heart disease. It seemed logical. Eat fat, store fat, have heart problems. Boom, done. So the food industry reacted fast. Low fat became a gold mine. Suddenly, every product had a skinny cousin. Low-fat cookies, fat-free mayo, cheese that barely counts as cheese. But to make those foods taste like anything, they had to add something else. Sugar, salt, additives, artificial flavors. Because newsflash, fat isn't just a fuel source. It's flavor, it's texture. It makes things creamy, rich, satisfying. You take that out, and your yogurt tastes like sour chalk. So guess what? They pump it with sugar to trick your taste buds into thinking it's still delicious. That's how you end up with healthy, low-fat granola bars that have more sugar than a candy bar. Or light dressings that are so salty they could preserve a mummy. And here's where it really messes you up. Fat is actually important, like biologically. Your body needs fat to build hormones, absorb fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, protect your organs, keep your skin and brain functioning. When you starve your body of healthy fats, you can mess with your mood, your energy levels, your hormone balance, even your memory and cognitive clarity. People who go on strict low-fat diets often report feeling off, foggy, hungry all the time. Their meals aren't satisfying, so they snack more, crave sugar more, and, ironically, gain weight. And here's the kicker. Not all fats are bad. Sure, trans fats. Avoid those like the plague. But healthy fats? Think avocados, nuts and seeds, olive oil, fatty fish like salmon. These aren't dangerous. They're necessary. They help lower inflammation, support your brain, and even improve heart health when used right. Even saturated fats, which used to be painted as pure evil, are now being reconsidered. The science is more nuanced than the old all fat equals death mentality. It's about the bigger picture of your overall diet. So what happens when you constantly prioritize low-fat everything? You might be overeating sugar, messing with your satiety signals, triggering cravings, depriving your body of essential nutrients. It's the classic trap of good intentions, weird results. And here's a bonus fun fact. Fat slows digestion. That means when you eat a meal with healthy fat, you stay full longer. You're not raiding the pantry 30 minutes later looking for something light. Ever had a fat-free muffin for breakfast only to feel starving by 10 a.m.? Yeah, that's your body wondering why you gave it a sugar bomb instead of fuel. So if you've been buying everything with a low-fat label, thinking you're making the healthiest choice, you might actually be sabotaging your energy, metabolism, and cravings without realizing it. Fat isn't the enemy. Bad information is. Next time you're grocery shopping and your eyes go straight to that 0% fat label, Pause. Ask yourself, what did they replace the fat with? Because sometimes that innocent label hides a whole lot of nutritional nonsense. Turns out, real food with real fat might be the healthier choice after all.
Always taking deep breaths to calm down. Okay, picture this. You're stressed. Maybe you're about to speak in public. Maybe you're stuck in traffic. Maybe you're spiraling because your boss just sent you a vague, "Can we talk?" message. Your heart's racing, palms sweating, brain going 1,000,000 miles an hour. What's the advice you've heard since childhood? Take a deep breath. Maybe even someone next to you says it. Breathe in and out. It sounds like the most wholesome thing ever. Totally harmless. The go-to advice for calming down. But here's the twist. If you're not doing it right, deep breathing can actually make you feel worse. Yep. The relaxing deep breath might be the thing keeping you anxious. Let's break it down. Most people, when told to take a deep breath, they do this. They puff out their chest, shoulders rise, big inhale through the mouth. Sound familiar? That's chest breathing. And chest breathing is a fight or flight style of breathing. It's what your body naturally does when it thinks it's in danger. You're telling your brain, "Yup, something's wrong. Let's panic harder." It's the complete opposite of what you want when you're trying to calm down. See, the kind of breathing that actually does help with anxiety isn't big, dramatic gulps of air. It's slow, gentle belly breathing from your diaphragm, the kind babies do automatically, the kind you do when you're asleep. But in our effort to force ourselves into a state of calm, we often breathe too deeply, too fast, or too forcefully, and that backfires. You end up over-oxygenating your blood while dumping too much carbon dioxide. Sounds like a good thing, right? More oxygen equals better? Not quite. When you lower your CO2 levels too much by over-breathing, your blood vessels constrict. That reduces blood flow to your brain. You might feel dizzy, lightheaded, even more anxious. In some cases, this leads to hyperventilation syndrome, which can cause chest tightness, tingling in your fingers, feeling like you can't get enough air. Or, ironically, panicking because you're not breathing right. So now your calm down strategy has triggered an even stronger stress response. Not ideal. But wait, there's more. If you turn deep breathing into a habit, doing it every time you feel the slightest discomfort, you can condition your brain to treat normal levels of stress as a threat. Basically, I feel a little nervous. Better deep breathe. Brain hears, this situation must be dangerous. Result, even more stress next time. You've trained your body to treat mild anxiety as an emergency, which means your threshold for stress gets lower and lower. And suddenly, you need to deep breathe just to answer emails or stand in line at Starbucks. And let's not forget the performance pressure of deep breathing. You sit there thinking, am I breathing right? Is this calming me down yet? Why am I still anxious? Now you're anxious about your anxiety cure. That's next level irony. So what's the better move? Breathing gently and naturally through your nose. Focus on longer exhales than inhales. That helps trigger the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's rest and digest mode. Try this instead.
Breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold for 1 second, exhale through your nose for 6 seconds. Pause. Repeat slowly a few times. No giant gasps, no superhero chest puffing, just calm, controlled, nose-based breathing. Even better, pair it with grounding. Feel your feet on the floor. Notice the weight of your body in the chair. This brings your nervous system back to the present without making it feel like it needs to fix something. Look, the instinct to deep breathe is fine, but turning it into a constant, dramatic ritual every time you're even slightly uncomfortable? That's not calming your body. It's reinforcing the idea that something's wrong every time your heart beats faster. So yeah, next time someone tells you to take a deep breath, maybe just don't. Or at least, don't do it the way they're picturing. Because sometimes the quietest breath, the one you don't even notice, is the one that actually helps. Sleeping on your back for posture. All right, let's talk about sleep. You've probably heard this one before. If you care about your spine, you should sleep on your back. Supposedly, it's the posture of champions. Straight spine, neck in alignment, no curling up like a shrimp. Chiropractors love it. Reddit health forums swear by it. And hey, it sounds scientific, right? But here's what no one really tells you. Sleeping on your back might actually be wrecking your rest, especially if you're forcing yourself into it just because someone online told you it's ideal. Let's start with the obvious. You're not a robot. Your spine isn't a ruler. Your neck isn't a gear. And sleep isn't some mechanical maintenance ritual where your body lies perfectly flat and wakes up fully recharged. Your body has natural curves. It wants support, not a cold, orthopedic plank session. So what's the issue with back sleeping? Well, for starters, gravity. When you lie on your back, everything relaxes downward, including your tongue, your soft palate, the tissues in your throat. That means if you're prone to snoring or mild sleep apnea, sleeping on your back can make it way worse. Your airway gets partially blocked, airflow is restricted, and your sleep quality plummets, even if you don't wake up all the way. And if you already deal with acid reflux or GERD, back sleeping is like giving gravity permission to let stomach acid climb up into your esophagus, nightly, slowly, burningly. But posture, right? Okay, let's talk spine. While it's true that some people find spinal relief on their backs, it depends on a ton of factors. Your mattress firmness, your pillow height, whether your knees are elevated, your natural spinal curvature. If any of those things are off, you might end up with lower back pain from arching or neck strain from a pillow that's either too high or too flat. There's even a little-known problem called supine sleep paralysis, where people are more likely to experience those terrifying frozen can't-move nightmares while on their backs. Not saying it's guaranteed, but if you've ever woken up unable to move with a sense of dread hovering in the room, yeah, the back sleeping position is often the culprit. Now here's the weird part. Most people don't naturally sleep on their backs. It's not what your body wants to do. Studies show the majority of adults are side sleepers because that's how your body feels safest. It's protective. It cradles your organs. It makes sense biologically. Even during pregnancy, doctors recommend side sleeping to improve circulation and reduce pressure. So why the obsession with back sleeping? Blame Instagram and minimalism and that whole trend of sleep hygiene perfectionism. We've turned sleep into performance, like there's a right and wrong way to lie down unconscious for 7 hours. People start forcing themselves onto their backs, keeping arms rigid at their sides like they're prepping for a museum exhibition. The result is you wake up feeling sore, groggy, maybe even more anxious than before. You don't know why, because technically you did everything right. But your body's over here like, could I maybe curl up a little? Just a smidge? Also, real talk, if you snore while sleeping on your back, you're probably annoying everyone around you. Partners, roommates, pets. No one's getting good sleep, not even you. Now, look, if you're one of the lucky few who naturally sleeps on their back and wakes up refreshed, great, keep doing your thing. But if you're forcing it because some wellness post said it's better for your posture, maybe it's time to relax, literally. Try sleeping how your body wants to sleep. Curl up. Use a pillow between your knees. Hug a second pillow if you want. There's no gold medal for sleeping flat on your back like a marble statue. In fact, sleep is one of those things where comfort is the science. You want to feel safe, supported, and fully at ease. That's when your body does its best recovery work, not when it's on high alert, trying to maintain perfect posture while unconscious. So, yeah, maybe back sleeping works for some people. But if you're waking up feeling like you got hit by a truck, or snoring like a tractor, or just not getting good rest, you might want to ditch the ideal and go back to what your body naturally craves. Turns out, the best sleep posture is the one that actually lets you sleep.
Using essential oils for everything. All right, let's step into a spa-scented world for a second. You walk into someone's house and bam, instant lavender. There's probably a diffuser humming in the corner, maybe eucalyptus in the bathroom, peppermint in the car, tea tree in the skincare, lemon in the laundry. Essential oils are everywhere now. And hey, they're marketed like magic. Trouble sleeping? Lavender. Stressed out? Bergamot. Need to focus? Rosemary. Got acne? Tea tree. Want to clean your entire house with just one bottle? Lemon and vinegar, baby. It's natural, it smells amazing, and the internet says it works. So, what's the problem? Here it is. Essential oils are powerful, like actually potent. They're not just harmless little scents. These things are concentrated plant compounds, and using them like they're as gentle as baby lotion, that's where people get into trouble. Let's start with your skin. A lot of folks love putting oils straight on their face or body, especially tea trees for acne or lavender on the temples to relax. But here's the catch. Most essential oils are supposed to be diluted, like really diluted. Think 1 or 2 drops per tablespoon of carrier oil. Using them neat, aka undiluted, can lead to rashes, redness, chemical burns, blisters, sensitization, your skin permanently reacting to even tiny amounts in the future. And here's the thing, they might seem fine the first few times, but with repeated use, your skin can suddenly flip the script and decide, nope, this is now a threat. It's called allergic contact dermatitis, and it happens a lot more than people think. Tea tree oil is a classic offender. So is cinnamon, clove, lemongrass, and citrus oils. They sound gentle, they're not. Now let's talk about lungs.
If you're diffusing oils 24/7, especially in small enclosed rooms, you might be overloading your air with volatile organic compounds. That's not just a scary science word. VOCs are airborne chemicals that can irritate your nose, throat, lungs, and even trigger headaches or asthma. For people with respiratory conditions or pets, that constant stream of essential oil mist can actually do more harm than good. Speaking of pets, this one's important. Essential oils can be toxic to animals, especially cats and birds. Their livers can't process some of the compounds found in common oils like eucalyptus, peppermint, citrus, and tea tree. You might think, well, I'm not putting it on my cat, but just diffusing it in a room where your pet breathes, that can be enough. They can absorb it through the air or from licking residue off their fur. And when animals get sick from essential oil exposure, it's not pretty. Let's move on to ingesting oils. Yes, there are influencers and MLM reps out there telling you to put a few drops of lemon oil in your water or oregano under your tongue to fight off colds. Please don't do that. Essential oils are not the same as herbs or teas. One drop of peppermint oil is like drinking 20 cups of peppermint tea. You're basically throwing gasoline-strength concentrate on your delicate insides. Unless a certified aromatherapist or medical professional specifically tells you to ingest them, and they almost never do, skip it. Your liver and kidneys will thank you. Now, does this mean essential oils are evil? Not at all. They absolutely have some benefits. Lavender has mild calming properties. Peppermint can ease headaches for some people. Tea trees can fight bacteria when used correctly. But the key word here is moderation and respect. These oils aren't harmless because they're natural. Plenty of natural things can still mess you up. Arsenic is natural too, you know. Here's the other angle. Sometimes we use essential oils as emotional duct tape. Anxiety, diffuse something. Insomnia, rub something on your wrist. Feeling low, sniff, dab, roll. And while that can be soothing, it's also easy to avoid dealing with the root cause. We end up layering scent over stress instead of actually figuring out what's going on. Worse, we might start thinking oils can replace real treatment. Got a serious rash? You need a doctor. Having panic attacks? You need a therapist, not a roller ball of calming blend. So what's the takeaway? Essential oils are not bad, but they're not medicine. They're not a fix-all, and they're definitely not risk-free. Use them if you enjoy them. Just don't go overboard. Dilute them. Ventilate your space. Watch how your skin reacts. And don't forget, sometimes a good deep breath and a glass of water do more than any bottle of fragrant concentrate ever could. Essential oils are tools, not miracles. And like any tool, they can help you or hurt you depending on how you use them.
Daily journaling. Let's talk about journaling. Yep, old school pen and paper, or maybe your fancy notes app, where you pour out your thoughts like it's therapy. Everyone from self-help gurus to therapists to TikTok life coaches swear by it. Journal every day. Get your thoughts out. Manifest your goals. Sounds productive, right? And for a lot of people, it is. But here's the twist you probably didn't see coming. Daily journaling can actually mess with your head, especially if you're doing it the wrong way or doing it too much. Sounds weird? Let's unpack it. At first, journaling feels great. You vent, you reflect, you feel like you're processing stuff. And that can be super helpful if you've got a lot on your mind. But if you journal every single day, especially about the same negative stuff, your brain starts doing something sneaky. It turns reflection into rumination.
Instead of getting clarity, you start going in circles. You relive the same anxieties. You rehash that awkward conversation for the 14th time. You replay the breakup. You revisit the self-doubt. Your journal stops being a tool for growth and becomes a trap where you marinate in your own stress. You're no longer solving anything. You're reinforcing the problem. Think of it like scratching a bug bite. At first, it felt like relief. But the more you scratch, the more irritated it gets. Eventually, you're not helping the itch. You're keeping it alive. Same with journaling your worries over and over. Now, here's another thing journaling can quietly mess up: your memory. Ever write something in your journal and then you can't stop thinking about it? It's because writing things down cements them in your brain. That's normally a good thing, but not if what you're cementing is fear, self-doubt, or resentment. Journaling can make negative thoughts feel more real. You gave them ink, you gave them structure, you honored them with attention. And once they're written down, your brain might start looping on them like a playlist stuck on repeat. Plus, if you treat journaling like a daily requirement, it can start feeling like homework. You open your notebook and think, ugh, what do I even write today? So you start forcing drama just to fill the page. You invent stress. You dig for problems that weren't even bugging you until you sat down to write. And that's when journaling stops being therapeutic and starts being performative. Also, let's not ignore the pressure journaling can create around growth. There's this idea that your journal has to show progress, that each entry should be wiser than the last, that your thoughts should be deep, insightful, quote-worthy. But real life, real thoughts, they're messy. Sometimes you feel stuck. Sometimes you're angry for no good reason. Sometimes your entry is literally, I feel blah and I don't know why. And that's okay. But the more pressure you put on your journaling practice to mean something, the more likely you are to feel like you're failing at it, which completely defeats the point. Oh, and one more subtle side effect: emotional detachment. Some people use journaling to avoid hard conversations. Instead of telling someone you're upset, you write about it in your notebook. Instead of confronting a toxic situation, you journal around it. It feels like you're dealing with the issue, but really, you're just compartmentalizing. You're venting in private when what you actually need is real-world action. So, what's the solution here? Don't ditch journaling altogether. Just get intentional with it. Try these small shifts. Don't journal every single day unless it actually helps you. Mix in gratitude or curiosity, not just complaints. Don't obsess over making it deep or poetic. Use journaling as a springboard for action, not a substitute for it. If your entries feel repetitive, ask yourself, is this helping me grow or just keeping me stuck? And sometimes, close the notebook. Go for a walk. Talk to someone. Do something tactical. You don't always need to think harder to feel better. Sometimes you just need to move. Journaling is powerful, but when done out of habit instead of intention, it can quietly mess with your mental health. So, the next time you pick up that pen, ask yourself, am I writing to heal or just to keep my thoughts spinning in circles? Because your thoughts deserve a place to breathe, not just a page to get stuck on. Taking cold showers for resilience. Let's get something straight. Cold showers do have a bit of a cult following now. And it's not just a trend, it's practically a lifestyle. You've probably heard the pitch: take a cold shower every morning to build mental toughness. Shock your system, boost your dopamine, become a warrior. It's everywhere, from wellness podcasts to social media challenges. People swear by it. And sure, there's some science behind it. Cold exposure can trigger a short-term release of adrenaline. It might increase alertness. And yeah, it wakes you up faster than any cup of coffee ever could. But here's the plot twist. Taking cold showers every day in the name of resilience might actually mess you up, quietly and over time. Let's start with what no one talks about. Your body doesn't like to be stressed all the time. And cold exposure? That's stress, literally. It activates your sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight mode, which is fine, sometimes. That system is supposed to kick in when you're in danger. But when you start every day blasting yourself with icy water, it's like hitting the emergency alarm over and over again. You're training your body to expect a crisis first thing in the morning. And if you're already someone who deals with anxiety or burnout or poor sleep, that sudden jolt of stress can stack right on top of what your nervous system is already carrying. It's like starting your day by sprinting uphill in combat boots with no warm-up. Your body might interpret that as punishment, not empowerment. And here's another thing no one's really saying out loud. Cold showers don't build resilience if you're already depleted. If your life is already chaotic, if you're barely sleeping, if your work stress is maxed out and your mental bandwidth is gone, then forcing yourself into a freezing shower every day isn't tough love. It's just more overload. Resilience isn't built by piling on discomfort. It's built by recovering from it. If you're never giving your body safety, warmth, calm, and rest, then all that stress just accumulates. You're not getting stronger. You're just getting fried. Also, let's talk about why people are doing this in the first place. A lot of people start cold showers because they want discipline. They want control. They want to feel like they can dominate their own comfort zone. And on the surface, that sounds great. But for some folks, that's a red flag, because it means your relationship with rest and comfort might be broken. You've convinced yourself that ease is the enemy, that comfort makes you weak, that softness is shameful. So every morning becomes a battle, not with the water, but with yourself. And if your motivation is built on self-punishment, like, I don't deserve warmth until I've suffered, then you're not building resilience. You're just rehearsing emotional neglect. Now, let's not throw cold showers completely under the bus. There are some benefits, short-term ones. They can increase circulation, boost alertness, possibly reduce inflammation in muscles. But those are effects you can get in small, targeted doses, not by turning your entire shower routine into an Arctic expedition. In fact, for some people, especially with certain medical conditions, cold showers can actually be harmful. They can spike blood pressure, trigger migraines, or cause rebound fatigue after the adrenaline crash wears off. And fun fact, cold exposure reduces your ability to fall asleep. So if you're taking these cold showers at night to end your day strong, you're setting yourself up for poor rest. So, what should you do instead? If you're looking for mental clarity, try ending your warm shower with just 30 seconds of cold. That's often enough. If you want emotional resilience, start with consistency in your sleep, nutrition, and emotional boundaries, not just artificial stress. And if you're taking cold showers to feel something, to snap out of numbness or inertia, ask yourself why you're numb to begin with. Because maybe what you actually need isn't more discomfort,
it's more care. In the end, cold showers aren't evil. They're tools. But when we use them as a daily test of worthiness, when we start believing that struggle is the only path to strength, we quietly teach ourselves that peace is a problem. And that's a habit worth unlearning. Drinking smoothies instead of eating meals. All right, time for a gut check, literally. Smoothies, the golden child of wellness culture. They're colorful, convenient, and somehow make you feel like you've got your life together. You throw in some spinach, a banana, a scoop of protein powder, and suddenly you're the kind of person who starts the day right. And look, we're not here to trash smoothies altogether. They can be healthy. They can be tasty. They're a great option when you're short on time. But drinking smoothies instead of actual meals, like swapping out your breakfast, lunch, or even dinner in favor of a blendable shortcut, day after day? Yeah, your body has some thoughts about that, and they're not exactly cheering. Here's what people don't realize. Your digestive system isn't just a fuel line. It's a deeply involved, hormone-regulated mind-body network. And how you eat, not just what you eat, affects everything from your blood sugar to your mood. When you drink a smoothie, it skips a ton of the important steps your body normally goes through during a meal, like chewing. Chewing's not just about breaking stuff down. It actually triggers enzymes in your saliva that start the digestion process before food even hits your stomach. Skip the chewing, you're already behind. Also, drinking your calories means your brain gets a very weird signal. It doesn't feel the weight and texture of food. It doesn't process fullness in the same way. So even if that smoothie is 600 calories of fruit, greens, and protein, your brain might still ask, wait, where's lunch? Which leads to two possible outcomes. You feel unsatisfied and snack all afternoon. You try to push through the hunger thinking it's just a mental thing, when really, your body just didn't register the meal. And don't get it twisted. Liquid nutrition doesn't always absorb better. Sometimes it digests way too fast. That means your blood sugar can spike quicker than if you ate the same ingredients in solid form, especially if your smoothie's got a lot of fruit, juice, or sweeteners. Your body slams on the gas, then crashes hard. That post-smoothie slump, it's real. But here's how it gets sneakier. When smoothies become a habitual meal replacement, especially in the name of clean eating or efficiency, you start messing with your relationship to food itself. You start training your brain to think that meals are just nutrient dumps, just macros and vitamins, not experiences, not moments of rest, not pleasure, no connection. And that matters more than you think. Eating real meals, sitting down, chewing, tasting, helps regulate hormones like ghrelin, your hunger hormone, leptin, your fullness hormone, and insulin, your blood sugar manager. Smoothies can't recreate that, not completely. Also, let's be honest for a second. Most of us don't make perfectly balanced smoothies. Sometimes it's just fruit and yogurt and juice. That's a sugar bomb in a cup. Or we toss in superfood powders we saw on TikTok, with no idea how they interact. Or we use protein powder that we hate the taste of, but pretend we don't. Why are we lying to ourselves? And then there's texture. Some smoothies are so thick you need a spoon. Some are watery with weird floaty bits. But either way, they all bypass the signals your stomach usually uses to say, hey, I'm good now.
And over time, that confuses the whole system. You may feel hungrier even though you ate, have digestion issues, bloating, gas, weird bathroom visits, feel foggy or low energy an hour later, start craving crunchier, saltier, carb-heavy stuff to make up for it. So what's the alternative? Simple. Use smoothies as a supplement, not a replacement. If you're on the go, fine, have the smoothie, but maybe add a handful of nuts, or a boiled egg, or a slice of toast with nut butter. Give your body something to chew, something to feel. If you love smoothies in the morning, try switching it up every few days. Have eggs, have oatmeal, have actual food. Let smoothies be part of your nutrition, not the entire plan. Because, yeah, they're convenient, but so is fast food. And you wouldn't only eat fries and nuggets 3 times a day just because it saves time, right? At the end of the day, your body doesn't just want nutrients. It wants a meal. It wants signals. It wants sensation. It wants rhythm. And when you keep replacing all of that with one sippable shortcut, your system quietly gets thrown off balance. Smoothies are fine. Smoothies are fun. But if you're blending your life down to liquid, it might be time to chew on that for a second. Using weighted blankets every night. So let's talk about those cozy, cocoon-like blankets everyone's obsessed with. Weighted blankets. You've seen them. You might even own one. They're marketed as this magical sleep solution. Anxiety? Solved. Restlessness? Gone. Can't sleep? Boom! Just throw this heavy quilt on your body and bam! Instant calm. And honestly, they kinda work. At least for a while. Weighted blankets use something called deep pressure stimulation, which mimics the feeling of being hugged or held. That pressure can calm your nervous system, lower your heart rate, and help you feel safe enough to fall asleep faster. Sounds perfect, right? But here's the part nobody really talks about. Using a weighted blanket every night, long-term, can start to mess with your sleep quality and your body's natural ability to regulate itself. Yeah, that warm hug might be secretly training your brain to rely on external pressure for peace. Let's break it down. When you use something every single night to fall asleep, whether it's a weighted blanket, a white noise machine, lavender oil, whatever, you start building a psychological dependency. Your brain basically says, oh, okay, I can only fall asleep if I have that thing. And suddenly, the thing that was supposed to help you sleep becomes the only way you can sleep. That's not soothing. That's a crutch. So now you're not just winding down for bed, you're scanning for your blanket like it's your sleep security system. Forget to bring it on a trip? Insomnia. Accidentally left it in the laundry? Sleepless night. You've trained your nervous system to say no pressure equals no sleep. But let's go deeper. What does a weighted blanket actually do to your body when you're under it for hours? For starters, it restricts movement. Not drastically, but enough. And your body needs to move a bit while you sleep. Shifting around helps with circulation, temperature regulation, and spinal alignment. But with a heavy blanket, you might feel too stuck to change positions naturally. So what happens? You overheat. You wake up with stiff joints. You toss and turn underneath the weight, don't even realize you're doing it all night long. You might think you slept well, but you wake up groggy, sore, or weirdly unrefreshed. That's not deep, restorative sleep. That's just pressure-induced stillness. And then there's your heart and lungs. Most people don't notice it, but if the blanket is too heavy, even just a little beyond the recommended 10% of your body weight, it can create a subtle resistance on your chest and diaphragm. Not enough to feel like you're suffocating, but enough that your breathing becomes shallower, which can mess with your oxygen levels, especially in the deeper stages of sleep. You may not wake up gasping, but your body might never hit true REM sleep as deeply as it should. Over time, that adds up. Also, consider this. Your body is designed to self-regulate. You're supposed to learn how to calm yourself down, manage stress, and fall asleep without needing physical compression every night. But if you're always relying on a weighted blanket to quiet your nerves, you're never giving your nervous system a chance to learn how to do that on its own. Imagine going to the gym and using one of those machines that does all the motion for you. Sure, it moves your arms and legs, but you're not really building strength. Same thing here. You might be simulating relaxation, but you're not training your brain or body to manage stress naturally. Plus, let's be real, weighted blankets aren't ideal for everyone. People with circulatory issues, respiratory conditions, sensory sensitivities, joint problems, temperature regulation disorders can actually be harmed by nightly use. But that part rarely makes it into the product description. And don't even get started on cleaning them. Have you ever tried washing one of those things? It's like wrestling a damp sandbag in your bathtub. So what should you do instead? If you love your weighted blanket, cool. Keep it around, but maybe use it selectively. On high-stress nights, during anxiety attacks, lazy Sundays on the couch, don't use it every night like it's a prescription, because over time your nervous system starts whispering, "Hey, I don't know how to feel safe without this now." Instead, build a bedtime routine that actually strengthens your ability to wind down on your own. Breath work, a light stretch, consistent sleep hours, limiting screens before bed, and yes, sometimes pulling out the weighted blanket for backup. Let it be a tool, not a requirement. Because if your sense of peace depends on 15 pounds of cotton pellets pressing on your chest, then maybe it's time to unpack more than just your blanket.
Always stretching before workouts. Let's talk about something that everyone thinks is the responsible thing to do: stretching before a workout. You've probably heard it your whole life. Never exercise without stretching first. Warm up with a good stretch or you'll pull a muscle. Touch your toes before you lift weights or run. Sounds smart, right? Except, here's the curveball. Stretching before a workout might actually hurt your performance and even increase your chance of injury. Yeah, the thing that's supposed to protect your body might be quietly messing you up. Let's break it down. When most people say stretching, they're talking about static stretching, holding a muscle in one position, like a hamstring stretch, or reaching down and touching your toes for 20 to 30 seconds. It feels good. It makes you think you're getting loose. But what's really happening? Well, when you hold a stretch like that before a workout, especially if your body isn't warmed up yet, you're essentially telling your muscles to relax. You're elongating the muscle fibers and slightly reducing their natural tension. Sounds like a good thing, right? Except you're about to go into a high-demand, high-tension situation, a workout, and now your muscles are less springy, less responsive, and more unstable. Imagine stretching a rubber band out for a long time and then trying to snap it back. It's slower, less snappy. That's your muscles after a long pre-workout stretch. Studies have shown that static stretching before exercise can actually reduce strength output, decrease power and speed, make your reaction time slower, and, ironically, increase your risk of injury, especially if you're lifting heavy or doing explosive movements. So instead of priming your body to perform, you're kind of sabotaging it. You're dulling the system instead of turning it on. But here's the kicker. People think they're warming up when they stretch like this. They think holding a quad stretch is prepping their body to run. But warming up and stretching are not the same thing. Warming up means increasing blood flow, raising your core temperature, and activating the specific muscles you're about to use. Static stretching doesn't do that. What your body really wants before a workout is dynamic movement, not holding still in weird yoga shapes. Think leg swings, arm circles, light jogs, bodyweight squats, controlled lunges, movements that mimic what you're about to do, just at a lower intensity. This kind of dynamic warm-up tells your body, hey, we're getting ready to move fast. Let's pump blood to the muscles, heat things up, and get everything firing. It activates your muscles instead of telling them to chill out. So why does everyone still stretch before workouts? Honestly, habit. It feels responsible, it looks right, and no one questions it because it's been around forever. But if you're trying to run faster, lift more, stay injury-free, feel strong and responsive, then static stretching before your workout is like hitting the snooze button when your muscles are trying to wake up. Now, does this mean stretching is bad? Nope, not at all. Static stretching still has a place, it's just not before a workout. The best time to stretch? After you're done. That's when your muscles are warm and pliable. That's when elongating the fibers can help reduce tightness, increase flexibility, and assist recovery. Think of it like this. Before a workout, wake your body up with dynamic movement. After a workout, cool your body down with static stretches. Doing it the other way around is like taking a nap before running a sprint. So what should a good warm-up look like instead? Let's say you're about to go for a run. Instead of holding toe touches or calf stretches, do this. Start with a brisk walk or light jog for 2 to 3 minutes. Add some leg swings, front to back and side to side. Do some walking lunges or high knees. Maybe throw in a few jumping jacks or butt kicks. That's a warm-up your body actually understands. It says, okay, we're about to move fast. Let's pump blood to the muscles, heat things up, and get everything firing. It activates your muscles instead of telling them to chill out. So if you're heading into a weight session, warm up the muscles you're about to train. Light reps with no weight. Controlled range of motion movements. Wake things up. Then, after your workout, that's the time to hold that deep hamstring stretch or that big overhead arm pull. Your muscles are warm. Your heart rate is coming down. Now it's safe and useful to stretch. Bottom line, if you've been stretching before workouts thinking you're doing your body a favor, you're not alone.
Most of us grew up believing that was the healthy way to begin any physical activity. But now you know better. Stretch smart, not just traditionally. Because holding your toes while your body is half asleep isn't preparing you to crush your goals. It's lulling your system right when it should be revving up.
Avoiding all germs. Okay, be honest. When was the last time you wiped down a doorknob with disinfectant? Or used your elbow to push the elevator button? Or maybe you've got that little bottle of hand sanitizer in your bag that you treat like gold. You're not alone. The idea of germ-free equals healthy has been drilled into us. Everywhere you look, antibacterial wipes, sanitizing sprays, soaps that promise to kill 99.9% of everything. But here's the thing no one tells you. Avoiding all germs might be quietly wrecking your immune system. Let's dig into it. Your body is actually designed to deal with germs constantly. It's not a flaw, it's a feature. Your immune system is like a super complex training facility. And in order to stay strong, it needs opponents. Small ones, frequent ones, the kind you meet in everyday life, on railings, in soil, on your phone, even, on other people's hands. But when you start wiping everything down like you're prepping for surgery, when every sniffle from a stranger makes you reach for the sanitizer, when your environment becomes too clean, your immune system gets bored, lazy, understimulated. It stops being sharp and reactive and starts being weirdly twitchy, overreacting to things that aren't threats at all. That's one of the reasons allergies, asthma, autoimmune diseases, things where your body fights harmless stuff, are on the rise, especially in ultra-clean environments. It's called the hygiene hypothesis. Basically, your body needs to be exposed to a certain level of bacteria, viruses, and other microbes early and often. Not just to fight them off, but to learn the difference between harmful and harmless invaders. Think of your immune system like a security guard. If you never let anyone near the building, not even the mailman or delivery guy, your guard's going to freak out the moment anyone comes close. But if you let in normal visitors now and then, the guard learns who's dangerous and who's just dropping off lunch. Now, this doesn't mean you should stop washing your hands after the bathroom or start licking subway poles. There's a difference between basic hygiene and full-blown germ paranoia. What we're talking about is the habit of constantly trying to eliminate every microbe in your life. Using antibacterial soap for every hand wash. Sterilizing your kitchen counters multiple times a day. Avoiding places like parks or soil because it's dirty. Never let your kids play with animals or roll around outside. Wearing gloves to touch common surfaces in public places. These habits seem healthy, responsible. But long-term, they're cutting your immune system off from its natural training ground. There's even evidence that kids raised in ultra-clean homes are more likely to develop allergies and immune issues later in life. Meanwhile, children who grow up around pets, dirt, older siblings, or farm animals, they tend to have stronger, more balanced immune systems. So weirdly enough, some of the best things you can do for your health involve getting a little dirty. Here's what helps. Let your body interact with nature. Touch grass, literally. Don't panic over a little mud or pet slobber. Wash your hands with regular soap. Antibacterial isn't necessary. Use sanitizers only when you don't have access to water, not every 5 minutes.
Let your home be clean but not sterile. Open your windows now and then. Get air circulation. Let your body build resilience, not depend on chemical wipes. And yeah, when you're sick or there's an outbreak going on, by all means, sanitize. Protect others. But during everyday life, a few germs are not the enemy. They're part of the training program. Think about your ancestors. They didn't have Lysol or Purell. They touched raw food, dirty tools, animal skins. They lived around bacteria constantly. And our immune systems evolved because of that exposure, not in spite of it. In fact, when you avoid all germs, you're not just weakening your defenses, you're also disrupting your body's microbiome, the healthy bacteria living in and on your body that help with digestion, mood, skin health, and even sleep. When you go nuclear on all bacteria, you're not just killing the bad guys, you're wiping out the good guys too. So yeah, go ahead and wash your hands before dinner, but don't panic if you forgot your sanitizer. Don't freak out over shared pens or handshakes or a sneeze in the same room, because your body is not a delicate flower. It's a battle-tested, bacteria-trained machine. And sometimes the best thing you can do for it is let it do its job.
Eating too many gut-friendly fermented foods. So you've discovered kimchi, or maybe kombucha, or you've gone full yogurt warrior, Greek, Icelandic, plant-based, you name it. And you're thinking, hey, I'm doing something amazing for my gut, right? Probiotics, baby! Healthy bacteria. Let's double the dose. But here's the twist. You can absolutely overdo it. And if your gut could talk, it might be begging you to chill. Let's back up a second. Fermented foods like sauerkraut, kefir, miso, tempeh, pickles, kombucha, and all those trendy gut shots have a solid reputation. And honestly, they do offer a ton of benefits. They're full of live cultures, good bacteria that support digestion, help crowd out the bad bugs, and keep things running smoothly inside. But here's the catch no one really tells you. Your gut is not a one-size-fits-all place. It's not a yogurt commercial. It's a living, dynamic ecosystem. And flooding it with too many helpers can throw things off. It's like inviting too many guests to a house party. At first, it's fun. Everyone's mingling, the vibe is great. But if more and more people show up, loud, energetic, all trying to organize your kitchen, yeah, now it's chaos. That's exactly what happens when you load up on fermented foods nonstop, thinking more is always better. You're introducing tons of new bacteria, many of them unfamiliar to your body. And instead of balance, you can end up with bloating, gas, cramps, weird poops, or even nausea. Not exactly the gut health glow-up you were aiming for. This especially happens if you go from zero to hero. Like one day you're eating microwave mac and cheese, and the next you're pounding down raw sauerkraut by the jar. Your gut bacteria are like, whoa, who are these guys? And for some people, those fermented foods can actually trigger histamine reactions, headaches, rashes, or that weird itchy feeling. Not because they're bad, but because your body's not ready for them, or you've introduced too many too quickly. There's also this trend now where people start making their own fermented stuff at home. Kombucha in the closet, kefir on the counter, pickles soaking in mystery jars. And while that's cool and kinda science-y, if it's not done properly, you risk contamination or overgrowth of the wrong microbes. Your gut doesn't want a Wild West bacteria brawl. It wants harmony. So what's the takeaway?
Fermented foods equals good, but fermented food overload, not so good. Here's what helps. Start slow. Add one fermented food at a time. Let your body adjust. Don't double up everything. You don't need kombucha and kimchi and kefir and miso soup in the same day. Listen to your gut. Literally. If you feel bloated or uncomfortable, that's not progress. That's a red flag. Rotate your sources. Different fermented foods have different strains of bacteria. Variety matters. Don't force it. Some people just don't tolerate fermented foods well, and that's okay. There are other ways to support gut health. And also, a lot of the store-bought versions, they're pasteurized, meaning the live cultures are dead, or they're full of added sugars and flavorings that undo the benefits. So you might just be paying extra for fancy marketing and glorified soda. And one more thing no one tells you. Probiotics from fermented food don't usually stick around forever in your gut. They pass through, they help a little, and then they move on. They're more like tourists than permanent residents. So rather than trying to stack bacteria all day long, focus on feeding the ones you already have. That means fiber, real food, prebiotics, stuff your gut bugs like to eat. The flashy fermented stuff is fine in moderation, but don't turn your gut into a 24/7 kombucha bar, because your body doesn't need a probiotic parade. It needs consistency, balance, and maybe just one scoop of sauerkraut, not the whole jar. Always sitting upright to maintain perfect posture. Okay, quick question. How are you sitting right now? Back straight? Shoulders back? Core tight? Chin tucked in like you're posing for a dental x-ray? Yeah, because we've been told that's good posture, right? But here's something that might surprise you. That perfect posture you're chasing all day might actually be messing you up. Seriously. We've been fed this idea, especially from school, offices, and ergonomic blogs, that if you're not sitting bolt upright at all times, you're doomed to a life of back pain and neck braces. So what do? We clench, we lock, we turn our bodies into rigid statues for hours, and we think, I'm being healthy. But here's the truth. Bodies aren't built to be held in one fixed position all day, even if that position is technically good. Let's think of posture like this. It's not a pose, it's a process, a constant dance of small adjustments and movements. Your body is designed to shift, to wiggle, to slouch a little, then come back up. Because movement equals circulation equals life. When you're always forcing yourself into that perfect upright position, what you're actually doing is overactivating muscles that weren't meant to be switched on all the time. Like your lower back muscles, your upper traps, and even your neck stabilizers. They get tired, they get tight, and then, hello, pain. Worse, people who sit super upright for hours often develop paradoxical issues like stiffness in the upper back, tension headaches, hip tightness from locking the pelvis in place, and this fun one, postural fatigue, where your body just gives up and collapses into a slump anyway. It's like trying to hold a plank for 8 hours. Even if it's good form, your muscles aren't meant to work nonstop. Now, don't get me wrong, slouching like a goblin for hours isn't ideal either. But the answer isn't choosing one position and sticking to it. The answer is variety. Try this instead. Sit upright sometimes, but then lean back. Use the backrest. That's what it's for. Shift your weight. Cross your legs. Uncross them. Move around every 30 to 60 minutes. Even a little hip wiggle helps. Try different seating positions, like sitting cross-legged on your chair if you can. Stand for a bit if you like, but don't lock your knees or spine while doing it. Also, posture is not just about muscles. It's about nervous system balance. When you're trying too hard to sit right, you might actually be triggering subtle stress responses, like shallow breathing or clenched jaws, because your brain is interpreting the tension as a mini alarm bell. Relaxed posture isn't lazy, it's functional. You know who has great posture? Toddlers. Watch a 3-year-old sit, squat, lie down, flop over, then jump back up. Their spines move like slinkies, their hips are mobile, and they don't spend 5 hours a day thinking, "Am I aligned with gravity right now?" Meanwhile, we're hunched over in anxiety, trying to remember what our physical therapist said about scapular positioning. And don't even get me started on chairs. Most modern chairs are designed poorly for human bodies. Too flat, too hard, weirdly high, no lumbar support. So even if you try to sit with good posture, the furniture is working against you. That's why sit up straight often turns into tuck your pelvis unnaturally and flare your ribs, which can mess with your spine alignment even more. So what should you do instead of chasing perfect posture? Move, often. Sit comfortably, not stiffly. Pay attention to how your body feels, not how it looks. If you're sitting upright, but your neck is killing you and your back is burning, that's not good posture. That's just pain with a straight spine. You want posture that lets you breathe easily, move freely, and adjust effortlessly. Because your best position is always your next position. So maybe relax that back. Let the shoulders drop. Wiggle around like a normal human. Perfect posture is overrated. Sustainable movement, that's the real flex. Drinking protein shakes all the time. Let's be real. Protein shakes look like the pinnacle of health. You see someone chugging one after the gym, and you immediately think, wow, they've got it together. Powder, shaker bottle, maybe a banana thrown in. It's basically the adult version of a superhero potion. But here's the weird truth most people don't talk about. If you're drinking protein shakes constantly, even on days you're not active, you might be doing more harm than good. Yeah, I know. That sounds insane. Isn't protein the golden child of nutrition? Muscle builder, metabolism booster, snack slayer. Yes, protein is essential. But when you're slurping down shakes all the time, even when your body doesn't need that much extra, it can quietly mess with your digestion, kidneys, hormones, and even your relationship with food. Let's break this down. First up, you probably already get enough protein. Unless you're training for a bodybuilding competition, or you're on some extreme calorie-restricted plan, most people, especially those in developed countries,
already meet or exceed their daily protein needs through regular meals: chicken, eggs, beans, oats, dairy, nuts, rice. It adds up fast. But when you toss in 1 to 2 protein shakes on top of that just to be safe, you can easily go way overboard. We're talking double or triple what your body actually needs. And guess what happens when you overload on protein? Your kidneys get extra work. They're responsible for filtering out the byproducts of protein metabolism, like urea. Too much for too long, not great for kidney health, especially if you're already borderline dehydrated or have any underlying issues. It can mess with your gut. Many protein powders, especially cheaper ones, are filled with artificial sweeteners, sugar alcohols, gums, and thickeners that your digestive system might hate. Bloating, gas, cramps, mystery bathroom emergencies. Sound familiar? It might crowd out real food. Drinking your protein can be quick and convenient, sure. But it's also not food. No fiber, minimal chewing, and little satisfaction. You might miss out on essential vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and phytonutrients that come from whole meals. Not to mention, protein shakes don't teach you how to eat better. They just become a crutch. It trains your brain to equate health with a supplement. That's a subtle one. But over time, you start thinking, oh, I didn't have time to eat today, but I had a shake, so I'm good. And while that's okay once in a while, turning it into a daily thing can disconnect you from your own hunger cues and nutritional needs. It may lead to sneaky weight gain. If you're drinking high-calorie shakes on top of full meals and not adjusting your activity level, that extra protein can quietly turn into extra fat. It's not magic muscle juice. If your body doesn't need it, it stores it. Also, just because something is protein doesn't mean it's good for you. Some popular powders are loaded with heavy metals like arsenic and lead. No joke. Hidden sugars, synthetic additives, weird thickeners that can mess with your gut lining over time. You'd be shocked at how unregulated the supplement industry can be. A lot of those tubs look like they belong in a pharmacy, but they're more like mystery powder roulette. Now, I'm not saying protein shakes are evil. They can be helpful if you're an athlete with higher needs, if you're recovering from illness, if you're trying to meet specific macro targets, or if you're legitimately too busy to cook sometimes. But they're not a free pass, and they shouldn't replace meals just because you're trying to be healthy. Here's a better approach. Use shakes strategically, not habitually. Check the ingredients. Fewer is better. Don't drink one just for the sake of it. Ask yourself, did I actually need that protein boost today? When in doubt, eat your protein. Don't drink it. Eggs, tofu, Greek yogurt, lentils, chicken, tempeh, fish, nuts. Those foods come with nutrients your body understands. They don't need to be shaken in a plastic bottle to count. So yeah, maybe skip the default shake tomorrow. Listen to your body. Give it real food first. Because sometimes even the healthiest habits, especially the trendy ones, are just well-packaged shortcuts that backfire in the long run. Smiling to feel happier. Forced positivity. All right, time to unpack something that sounds totally harmless, even sweet. You're feeling down, someone sees it and says, "Hey, just smile, you'll feel better." Or maybe you do it to yourself. You force a grin in the mirror, tell yourself to fake it till you make it, and hope that plastering on a cheerful expression will pull you out of the fog. And hey, the science behind it seems sound, right? There's even a term for it, facial feedback hypothesis. The idea is that smiling, even when you're not feeling happy, can trick your brain into releasing feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. It sounds like a nice hack. Smile equals brain thinks you're happy equals boom, instant mood boost. Except, when you force this habit all the time, especially during real emotional discomfort, it doesn't just become ineffective, it can actually backfire. Big time. Let's talk about toxic positivity, because that's what this is really about. See, when we constantly tell ourselves to smile through pain, pretend everything's fine, or avoid showing negative emotions in public, what we're really doing is suppressing emotional truth. And the human brain? It knows. You can't actually outsmart it with a grin. Here's what can go wrong when you're always forcing yourself to smile. You invalidate your real emotions. If you're sad, anxious, angry, or just plain tired, that's valid. Trying to overwrite those signals by slapping on a smile doesn't erase the emotion. It just buries it deeper, and buried emotions tend to resurface later, usually stronger and more confusing. It increases emotional stress. Research shows that people who are told to suppress emotions, including by faking happy expressions, actually experience higher heart rates, more anxiety, and lower memory recall. Why? Because it takes effort to pretend you're fine. That pretend happy mode runs in the background like a draining app. People can tell. You might think you're hiding it well, but humans are biologically wired to read micro-expressions and emotional tones. A forced smile, the kind where only your mouth moves but not your eyes, sets off tiny social alarm bells. Others might sense that something is off, or worse, feel like you're being fake. It can distance you from support. When you're always fine on the outside, people stop asking. They assume you're good. They back off. Meanwhile, you're struggling silently, wishing someone would just see through the smile. You forget how to sit with discomfort. Not all pain needs to be escaped. Some feelings are meant to be felt, worked through, and understood. If your automatic reaction is always smile it away, you might miss the chance to grow, reflect, or just be human. Now, don't get this twisted. Smiling isn't bad. It's a beautiful, powerful thing. Smiling at a joke, smiling at someone you love, smiling because you just saw a baby animal trip over its own feet, that's the good stuff. But weaponizing smiling, forcing it to override pain, making it a performance instead of a reflection of genuine emotion, that's where it gets quietly destructive. And it's everywhere, especially in work culture. Don't bring your emotions to the office. Smile for the customers no matter what. Don't be a downer. So we end up pushing away our humanity in the name of being pleasant or easy to be around. Here's a better approach. If you're upset, let yourself be upset.
You don't owe anyone a smile just to make them comfortable. Practice what's called emotional honesty. It doesn't mean dumping your feelings on strangers. It just means acknowledge what's real, even if it's messy. If you want to shift your mood, do it through real joy, not a fake smile. Listen to music, move your body, watch something funny, call a friend. Let happiness come from experience, not just expression. And if someone tells you to just smile, it's okay to say, actually, I'm not in the mood to fake it right now. It doesn't make you negative. It makes you self-aware. So, yeah, that habit of smiling to feel better, nice idea in theory, but if it becomes your default, a reflex, a mask, it might quietly convince your brain that your real emotions aren't welcome. And that's way more dangerous than a bad mood.
Decluttering constantly. Okay, so let's start with a confession. Who here has ever watched a video about minimalism, looked around your room, and suddenly decided that everything you own is clutter that must be eliminated immediately? Yep, you're not alone. Decluttering is often seen as the ultimate life cleanse. It's framed as productive, healing, even spiritual. You toss out that old sweater and suddenly feel like you've got your entire life together. You clean your desk and boom, your brain magically feels clearer. It's addictive. And hey, a tidy space can be great for your mental health. But here's the plot twist nobody talks about. When decluttering becomes compulsive, when it becomes a constant need to get rid of things just to feel in control, it can quietly start messing with you. Let's unpack this. First, decluttering is not the same as healing. There's this myth, especially online, that if you just purge enough stuff, you'll suddenly be emotionally balanced. But physical clutter is often just a symptom, not the root problem. If you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious, decluttering might temporarily distract you from those feelings. It gives you something concrete to fix. But if you're doing it constantly, like you clean your closet every weekend but still feel stressed Monday morning, that's a red flag. It means you're probably using decluttering to manage emotions that have nothing to do with your stuff. Second, you might be getting rid of things you actually need. Minimalist influencers will tell you, if you haven't used it in 6 months, toss it. Okay, cool. But what about winter clothes, or first aid kits, or random chargers that are annoying but necessary? People who declutter aggressively often end up rebuying the same stuff they tossed, sometimes over and over. Which means it's not saving money, it's not even saving space. It's just creating a cycle of guilt, waste, and temporary relief. You declutter, you feel better, then life happens, and you wish you hadn't thrown away that thing. So you buy it again, and then feel guilty again for having too much stuff. Repeat. Third, constant decluttering can become a form of control. When life feels messy, uncertain, or emotionally heavy, it's tempting to focus on something you can control, like your junk drawer. But here's the trap. If your environment has to be perfectly clean 100% of the time just for you to feel okay, that's not peace. That's pressure. It's not the clutter that's the problem. It's the belief that having any mess means you're failing at life, which is totally unrealistic. Life is messy. Homes get messy. People are not robots. And trying to organize your way into mental clarity, it doesn't always work,
especially if you're avoiding deeper stuff underneath. Fourth, you can actually lose parts of your identity. This one's sneaky. Sometimes the stuff you want to throw away, it's connected to memories, hobbies, past versions of yourself. That old sketchbook from college, the books you used to love, the half-finished craft project. Minimalism says, if it doesn't spark joy, toss it. But here's the catch. Not everything meaningful is joyful. Some of it is bittersweet. Some of it represents who you were and how far you've come. Getting rid of all that just to maintain a perfectly aesthetic shelf, you might be deleting your story, one donation bag at a time. And finally, decluttering can start to feel like a performance. Be honest, have you ever decluttered just to post it online? A before and after shot, a minimalist desk setup, a clean girl aesthetic. It becomes less about peace and more about proving something, that you're organized, that you're responsible, that your life is together. But meanwhile, behind the scenes, you might be more stressed than ever, just hiding it behind an empty countertop. So, what can you do instead? Recognize the difference between decluttering and control. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I want a clean space or because I feel emotionally out of control and this gives me a temporary fix? Don't declutter on autopilot. Take a beat. Do you actually want to get rid of that item or are you trying to chase a feeling? Practice curating instead of purging. Keep things that tell your story, even if they don't serve a current function. Not everything needs to be justified. Let your space be a little messy sometimes. Seriously, a lived-in home isn't a failure, it's a sign of life. And most importantly, you don't need to earn your peace by throwing things away. You don't need to prove your worth through empty shelves. And you are not more valuable just because your closet looks like a Pinterest board. Decluttering can help, but when does it become your go-to emotional coping tool? When does it become a lifestyle of constant elimination, always chasing that clean feeling? It's time to pause, take a breath, and remember, peace isn't about owning less. It's about needing less from your environment to feel okay. Only eating raw vegetables. All right, let's talk about something that sounds like the peak of health, eating only raw vegetables. You hear it all the time. Raw food is alive. Don't kill the nutrients. If it crunches, it cures. So you start piling your plate with raw carrots, raw broccoli, raw kale, raw everything. You feel smug, like you've unlocked some elite nutrition god mode that mere mortals don't understand. But here's the thing. Your body is not a rabbit. And living off raw veggies alone? Yeah, it's not the nutritional holy grail people make it out to be. Let's break down why this good habit might quietly be messing you up. First off, your digestion wasn't built for this. Raw vegetables, especially the fibrous ones, are tough to break down. Think cabbage, kale, cauliflower, celery. These things are basically nature's armor. They're loaded with cellulose and insoluble fiber, which your stomach acid and enzymes struggle to fully process. Now sure, a little fiber is good, but when you flood your digestive system with massive amounts of raw veggies all the time, you're asking for bloating, gas, cramping. That mysterious, why does my stomach feel like a balloon sensation after a super healthy salad. It's not your body being weak. It's your body saying, hey, we need a little help softening this stuff up. Which brings us to the second point. Cooking isn't the enemy. It's a digestive upgrade. Cooking vegetables doesn't kill all the nutrients. That's a myth. Yes, heat can slightly reduce some vitamins, like vitamin C and folate, but it can also increase the availability of others. Want an example? Cooked tomatoes have more absorbable lycopene, a powerful antioxidant. Cooked spinach makes iron and calcium more bioavailable. Carrots? Cooking helps release their beta-carotene, which your body turns into vitamin A. So no, steaming your broccoli isn't a nutritional crime. It's often a boost. Your body likes when food is pre-softened a bit. It means less digestive stress, more nutrient absorption, and less time feeling like a human compost bin. Now let's talk about energy. If you're eating raw veggies all the time and wondering why you're low on energy, it might be because your body's working overtime just to extract the nutrients. Raw-only diets tend to be low in calories, protein, and healthy fats, especially if you're skipping other food groups too. So even if your plate looks full, your cells might still be hungry. You're munching nonstop, but never really fueling up. And over time, that can mess with your metabolism, hormones, and even your mood. There's also the oxalate issue. Some raw veggies, like spinach, beet greens, and Swiss chard, are high in oxalates. Oxalates can bind to calcium and prevent its absorption, and in some people, they may contribute to kidney stone formation. Cooking those vegetables reduces the oxalate content. So if you're loading up on raw spinach every day thinking you're building strong bones, ironically, you might be blocking your own calcium intake. And finally, let's be real for a second. Raw veggie-only diets can kill your relationship with food. If you're avoiding cooked food because it's been framed as less pure or less clean, that's not health. That's restriction. You start to fear a roasted carrot like it's a chocolate cake. You turn down warm meals with friends because they're not raw enough. And suddenly food becomes less about nourishment and more about rules. That kind of rigidity, not sustainable, and definitely not joyful. So, what's the better move? Mix it up. Raw veggies are great, but balance them with cooked ones to get a wider range of nutrients and keep digestion happy. Pair veggies with fats or proteins. This helps you absorb fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K, and keeps you full longer. Don't overdo the rough stuff. If you're feeling bloated or tired after every raw heavy meal, it's okay to scale back. Your gut will thank you. Eat seasonally and culturally. Most traditional diets around the world cook their vegetables. Stir-fries, stews, roasted trays, they've survived for centuries for a reason. Here's the bottom line. Eating raw vegetables isn't bad, but worshiping them like they're the only path to health, that's where things go sideways. Your gut isn't a juicer. Your stomach isn't a shredder. You're a human being, not a blender with legs. Let food be functional, let it be warm sometimes, and let it make you feel good after the meal, not just during your Instagram story. Because health isn't about being raw. It's about being real, with your body, your habits, and your plate. Having a strict morning routine. Let's be honest, morning routines are trendy right now. You've probably seen at least 10 YouTubers or influencers talking about their 5 a.m. routine that changed their life. Cold plunge, journaling, green juice, breath work, reading 10 pages, meditation, gym, no phone till 9. It sounds impressive, right? Like if you just follow this strict blueprint, you'll unlock God-tier focus and productivity. But here's the part no one tells you. A strict morning routine can quietly become a trap. Not because morning rituals are bad in themselves, but because the pressure to nail it perfectly every single day can totally backfire. Let's break this down. At first, routines feel empowering. You get up, knock out 5 productive things before the world is even awake. You feel like a superhero. But what happens when one morning doesn't go to plan? You oversleep, or your kid wakes you up in the middle of the night, or your alarm doesn't go off, or you just feel off. Suddenly, you're behind. You're skipping steps. And because your routine is so rigid, the whole day feels ruined before it even begins. That's the dark side of having a strict, perfection-based morning setup. It sets you up to feel like a failure if you don't check every single box. Instead of supporting your day, it starts controlling it. Here's another angle. Strict routines don't leave room for how your body actually feels. What if one morning your body wants to sleep in? What if you're tired and really shouldn't be hitting the gym first thing? What if journaling feels like a chore today, not clarity? When you lock yourself into a system with zero flexibility, you lose touch with your real needs. You start performing productivity instead of actually being productive. You might be doing all the right things, but your energy's on autopilot. And let's not forget the obsession part. Morning routines can become just another way to measure your self-worth. Did I do all 10 steps? Did I meditate long enough? Did I mess up my streak? You're not starting the day with ease, you're starting with stress. And ironically, the routine you built to reduce anxiety is now causing it. Plus, strict routines can become unrealistic over time. Life changes, seasons shift, you travel, you get sick, you start a new job. And if your entire day depends on doing your exact 15-step ritual the same way every morning, what happens when that's not possible? You crumble. And that's not resilience, that's rigidity, which is the opposite of what a good routine should create. Now, let's get even more real. A lot of popular morning routines, they're designed around a lifestyle that most people don't have. Waking up at 5 a.m. to journal, work out, read, meditate, prepare a healthy breakfast, and sip herbal tea in silence sounds amazing. If you don't have kids, or a night shift, or chronic fatigue, or roommates, or deadlines, or if you're just trying to survive your week like a normal human. So what started as a helpful tool becomes this weird aspirational standard that silently shames anyone who can't keep up. So here's a thought. Maybe your morning doesn't need to be optimized. Maybe it just needs to work for you. Some days that might mean waking up early and getting a few focused things done. Other days it might mean sleeping in and just brushing your teeth before diving into chaos. Both are valid, both are real, both can lead to a good day. What's more powerful than a strict routine? A flexible framework, a loose set of habits you enjoy doing but that don't own you. Like a few options you can rotate depending on your energy or schedule. Like a toolkit, not a prison sentence. Because the point of a routine isn't to prove your discipline, it's to set a tone for the day, not a law. So if you've been beating yourself up over not doing your full morning routine, if you felt guilt over skipping breath work or yoga or not reading those 10 pages, if you're low-key stressed before the sun's even up, it's okay to pause. Let go of the performance. Let go of the rigidity. Let your mornings be human again. Because your best days aren't built from a checklist. They're built from how you show up, not just when or how many habits you can squeeze in before breakfast. And sometimes, the most productive thing you can do at 6 a.m. is absolutely nothing.
Fasting daily. All right, let's talk about fasting. Not the kind of fasting people do for religious or cultural reasons. We're talking about the new wave of daily intermittent fasting that's taken over TikTok, podcasts, and every fitness guru's morning routine. The 16.8 schedule, the warrior diet, OMAD, 1 meal a day, skip breakfast, no snacks, only eat during a narrow window. You've heard it. You've probably tried it. Maybe you're even doing it right now. And look, we're not here to demonize fasting. For some people, it does have real benefits. But doing it daily, especially as a blanket healthy habit for everyone, can quietly start to mess you up in ways that nobody's really warning you about. First off, here's the thing that gets lost in the hype. Fasting is a stressor. Yes, it can kickstart certain cellular processes. Yes, it can help with insulin sensitivity or weight management. But your body doesn't always read fasting as biohacking. Sometimes it just reads it as, we're starving again. When you fast every single day without giving your body a break, it's like constantly tapping on your stress hormones. Cortisol creeps up, adrenal function gets taxed, and for some people, that leads to burnout, mood swings, brain fog, even hormonal imbalances. It's the health equivalent of revving your engine all the time to show off your horsepower without checking your oil. Here's another quiet side effect. Your relationship with food can get weird. Fasting daily can start to change the way you think about eating. You stop listening to your hunger cues. You push through when your stomach is growling. You feel guilty for wanting lunch earlier than allowed. Food stops being nourishment. It becomes a rule, a clock, a battle. And that's when fasting slips from a tool into disordered territory. Especially if you already have a history of dieting or body image struggles, daily fasting can quietly reinforce restriction as normal. And let's talk about energy. Have you ever tried to get through a morning meeting or workout while fasted, and you feel like your brain is moving through molasses? That's not you being lazy. That's your body saying, hey, fuel would be nice right about now. Some people thrive on an empty stomach. Others, they're dragging. But if you're fasting daily because you think you should, and ignoring that foggy, irritable, low-energy feeling, it's not a flex, it's a red flag. Especially if your work demands focus, or if you're under a lot of stress already, or if you're dealing with mental health stuff. Low blood sugar and low mood don't make a great combo. There's also this idea that fasting is natural, that ancient humans didn't eat all the time, so we shouldn't either. Sure, but ancient humans also didn't have 9-to-5 jobs, gym sessions, school drop-offs, screen time, and back-to-back responsibilities. They foraged when they could. They rested when they needed to. They didn't skip breakfast to hit a productivity window. They skipped it because there was no food. So using the caveman argument to justify daily self-denial in a modern world, that's a little shaky. And here's something especially important if you're a woman. Your body reacts to fasting differently. Female bodies are more sensitive to changes in energy availability. Too much fasting can mess with reproductive hormones, menstrual cycles, thyroid function, even bone density. This isn't fear-mongering, it's biology. Yet most fasting research, it's been done on men, or lab animals, or short-term time frames. So when women try to apply the daily fasting equals ultimate health logic to themselves and their body starts fighting back, it's not weakness, it's a warning. Even your sleep can take a hit.
When you fast too long, your blood sugar dips in the night. That can wake you up, or mess with your deep sleep, or give you vivid dreams. Add some caffeine and stress into the mix. Suddenly, your optimized routine is stealing your rest. All because your body's like, hey, we're hungry and anxious. Could you maybe feed us and stop trying to be a monk? So should you never fast? No, but should you do it every single day like it's a universal health hack? Not necessarily. Some days your body might love the break. Other days it might be begging for a solid breakfast and a mid-morning snack. That's not failure, that's being in tune. What's healthier than strict daily fasting? Flexible fueling, paying attention to your body's signals, not being afraid to eat when you're hungry, not viewing food as a reward or eating as a weakness. You're not a machine. You don't run best on delay. You run best when your body feels safe. And sometimes that safety starts with a bite of toast at 8 a.m., not 1 p.m.
Using productivity tools and apps nonstop. Let's talk about your favorite thing, being organized. You've got your to-do list app, your calendar, your project tracker, maybe even a habit stacking app, a focus timer, a daily journal reminder, a motivational quote widget that pings you every morning. Your phone is basically a digital control center for getting your life together. And honestly, it feels great at first, like you've hacked adulthood. Everything's color-coded, scheduled, optimized. But here's the twist. Constantly relying on productivity tools, that can quietly start to make you less productive and more stressed, more distracted, more overwhelmed than you realize. Let's break it down. You start your morning, and your first move isn't doing something, it's checking what your app tells you to do. You open your to-do list, and suddenly you're drowning in micro tasks. Check email, send feedback, water plant, organize desktop files, journal for mental clarity, update your Notion dashboard. What was supposed to simplify your day just became a second job. Because here's the thing nobody tells you. Using 10 apps to manage your time still costs you time. You're toggling between screens, updating checkboxes, logging your habits, syncing devices, watching productivity tutorials to improve the tools you already use. It's like hiring a full staff of digital assistants and then spending your whole day managing the assistants. At a certain point, you're not working anymore. You're just maintaining the illusion of work. And let's not ignore the dopamine loop. Productivity tools are designed to feel rewarding. You tick off a task, and boom, satisfaction. Little animation, happy ding. It feels like you accomplished something, even if that something was just moving a file or writing a pretend Go. That false sense of progress, it can keep you trapped in busy work. You plan, you prep, you optimize, but the actual doing part, it gets postponed or buried under all the lists and workflows. It's like constantly sharpening your pencil and never actually writing anything. There's also a sneaky kind of perfectionism that creeps in. You start thinking, if I just find the right tool, the right method, I'll finally get my life under control. And suddenly you're on YouTube at 2 a.m. watching How I Bullet Journal My Way to Financial Freedom, or installing yet another app that promises to boost your focus by 137%. Spoiler alert, the tool isn't the problem. It's the escape the tool offers that's messing with you. Because building the perfect system can feel like productivity, but it's often procrastination in disguise. And what about your brain? Your brain actually needs a little chaos, a little free-flowing thought, a little time to wander, get bored, connect weird ideas without a timer shouting 25 minutes left. But when every moment is tracked and tagged, when your entire day is boxed into time blocks and productivity quotes, you don't get that mental breathing room. You train your brain to only function under structure. And when that structure breaks, when the app crashes, when your battery dies, when life throws a curveball, you freeze. You've outsourced your sense of direction to a screen. Even your self-worth gets tangled up in it. Ever looked at your unchecked tasks at the end of the day and felt like a failure? Like, wow, I only got through 12 things today. That's app guilt. That's measuring your value by how well you obeyed an algorithm. You're not a robot. You're not a spreadsheet. You're a human being. And sometimes humans need to nap, or improvise, or take a day that's gloriously unstructured. So what's the fix? It's not ditching productivity tools altogether. It's using them intentionally and knowing when to let go. Ask yourself, is this tool making my life easier or just busier? Am I spending more time tracking than doing? Am I using this to avoid starting something uncomfortable? Try simplifying. Try paper. Try trusting your brain a little more than the app. Not every task needs a checkbox. Not every hour needs a label. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is stop managing productivity and just start living. Even if nothing's color-coded, even if no animated confetti appears when you finish.